Yellow! And welcome back, but I tried to make a break. Welcome back to another episode of Xbox Infinite. Episode 87. All you guys in the chat, absolute champions. Thanks for coming through and supporting us. You're already here, popping off. Sorry we're a bit late. It's Pete's fault. No, it wasn't. We got a fantastic guest for you this week. xCloud, Tim Dog, man. Welcome back to the show. It's been a long time coming. How you doing, man? How's your week been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? There's a lot to play.
Basically, been working a lot. I know I've been saying it on Twitter, but I really have been working a lot. So haven't really gained much. I got Madden. I was very impressed with that. But I'm just trying to make as much money as in the meantime, or until Starfield, until the summer's over, that I can. So I really haven't. I've been following everything, but totally into gaming. I'm a little off, I have to say, because I've been working so much. But I've been keeping up. I want to get Baldur's Gate. I'm looking really forward to what's coming up. As you guys know, Forza, Starfield, Mortal Kombat. Party Animals looks pretty fun. There's a ton of games coming, and and Madden's very good, and I'm looking at the NBA games coming. Overall, just been doing my thing. I haven't been as active as you guys know, but I'm happy to be here. You guys are an up and coming show, and I just love to talk with you guys. I don't really go on podcasts anymore. I do a lot of spaces, but Riskit, I heard what a good guy you are, so I had to oblige you, and the panel is also awesome as well. So happy to be here.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming through. I know you're busy, man. But I had to have you on again because we're talking in the background. I was like, man, I got to get Tim on, and I miss hearing you on RDX, man. So hopefully, eventually, when things calm down for you, you can get back up on the panel on RDX because I think you missed there, man. Definitely. So it's good to have you on a podcast. Even better to have you on ours. Infinite Umbra. Welcome back. How you doing? How's your week been? What are you about? Wait, the man's he's moved his way to the top. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I'm taking over. It's official. I put the Infinite in Xbox Infinite. Yes.
Is he doing this on purpose? How the hell did you manage this? I'm gonna have to.
It's just things just happen this way,
You have to put an X in front of the name.
I think nature is healing. It naturally put me where I should be, on top. It's been a good week. I've had I was on Xbox Factor, of course, and that I do weekly with Boom and the cast, and of course my show yesterday, man, it was really good. It was the longest podcast we had done. Actually, I didn't intend to do that, but it was like 3 hours and 37 minutes of us talking just good stuff about GamesCom and everything else. So it was a good discussion. Had Aaron and Doc from Twitter on there. It was really good. Hey, did you put me down below?
What?
I just looked and noticed I'm at the bottom now. How did that happen?
I don't know, man. He must have just fallen from grace. Man.
That's messed up. I heard a click and I looked over like, what's that? And I'm like, why am I on the bottom of the thing now? But anyway, you know what? It's okay. The cream of the crop. We rise to the top. Ain't that right, Timmy? But no, it's all right. I had a good show yesterday. And man, I beat Atlas Fallen and got all the achievements out of it. I'm gonna hopefully do a co-op with Pete to help him finish it and beat it too, get it out of the way before Starfield drops and it descends upon us with its greatness. So
Starfield,
yeah, happy to be here with you guys tonight.
Absolutely, it puts you back up on top.
There you go.
I don't want you to be upset. JediKnightPeter, welcome back. How's your week been? What have you been up to? Have you done any crazy raids that maybe last 6-7 hours lately?
Yesterday was insane, but I'm so glad we got to do it. It was crazy difficult, the episode 4 raid in Call of Duty. So it really rounds up the story, and it's going to be an introduction into Modern Warfare 3 going on that first trailer that we got for Modern Warfare 3. Crazy fun time, crazy difficult. Took forever, but I had a lot of fun. I haven't been doing much. I haven't been gaming much this week, so COD with you guys, and that's about it. Really looking forward to Starfield. Yeah, and I'd love to play Atlas Fallen, bro. I don't really enjoy it playing in single player, but playing with you, bro, is fun.
Absolutely.
And welcome.
Yeah, we definitely got to finish
Welcome,
it.
Team Glove, bro. And honestly, bro, we do miss you on RDX, man.
Yeah, he's got to get back on there soon. When things calm down, that blue number, welcome back. How's your week? What have you been up to? How's things? What have you been playing? Have you had any sleep? How's work?
You put that in there, huh? Hello, everyone. Good to see you all again in the chat and listening and lurking in the background. That's totally fine too. I have spent many sleepless nights playing the raids this week with Pete and Riskit. I recommend you being a little choosier with your team because because I had to drag these two along and they wouldn't listen to my very explicit instructions multiple times about how to complete this, but that's okay. No, we had a really, really good time, and I went to bed at 3 last night and gave a presentation this morning at 10, so that was great. Really set the tone for crisis management, and the raids were very hard but really, really good. I'm super impressed, and there's just a lot of content in that game for $70, right? But I just also wanted to say, hey Colt, saw ya. And then Tim Dog, I know that they're talking about RDX, but I really wanted to, give you a lot of credit and shout out for the fan art podcast you're doing with. Yes, I am friends with Ben and Sean, and they're just the most nicest guys. They are the nicest men, and they are talented and just very giving, very, very careful people, and they're they really, really deserve, a platform to show off their art and be able to, kind of show what goes on behind the scenes with a lot of the stuff that they do. They're super awesome. And Colt was on, I think you're right. Yeah, talking about his art as well. And I wanted to give you a lot of props for that because those two need a lot of applause for what they do. So
thank you very much about that.
Yeah. If you don't know who Holly's talking about, she's talking about Ben Kenobi 2020. Go find him on Twitter. He's the guy, you see all these Starfield PFPs. That's Ben Kenobi's work. He is an absolute champion. Got a chance to meet him at FanFest. Yeah, you're right. Holly's just such a nice dude, man. Really clever, really talented. And Sean LeBrie, I think everyone by now knows Sean LeBrie, man. He is like the community's artist, pretty much. He is flat out all the time. So if you want Sean to do anything for you, you got to wait. I think there's a 2-year waiting list. But he is also an absolute champion. Great, talented guy. Just going back to COD, I couldn't believe how difficult those missions were. One of the missions where you were completely blindfolded and someone has to guide you through, the two other team members have to guide you through these two sections where you can see them on camera so you can break them out of prison. That was just nuts. Like that, I don't know who designed that level, but they are just absolute. I can't think of the word. It's good, but it's also really punishing. So I think they might be a little bit of an asshole at the same time as a genius. Gotta move on to first topic of the week, and because I've been rambling, I haven't pulled that up, so I'm just going to ramble on a little bit more. This is something that I wanted to talk about. I think a lot of people got sort of the wrong idea about this. So earlier in the week, we heard that Microsoft were going to be selling the Ubisoft the cloud streaming rights to all ABK games. There's some really interesting things around this that we sort of got to that I want to hit on. So first of all, anything that's released within the 15 years, because this deal goes for 15 years. Ubisoft has the cloud streaming rights in perpetuity too. So that'll be permanent. So after the 15 years, any games made within that period are theirs in perpetuity, which means they get to keep them for all time. Just the cloud streaming rights. This is not natively. And 15 years is a massive deal. So there's a lot happening in the community that I was sort of looking around and trying to get my head around this. And I did quite a bit of research and had some good conversations with Kayasanti, Everborn, Slow-Mo Backslap. A lot of the guys in the community were just sort of talking this one through. And the way, and this is not 110%, but I think I've got a very good grasp on this. So Ubisoft has the rights only to cloud streaming. That doesn't affect Xbox's native content. So this content can still come to Game Pass. So that's one, because a lot of people were concerned that Microsoft would then have to pay Ubisoft for that content in Game Pass. The second thing here to know is that they can still stream on Xbox Game Pass, so you can still have the same cloud capabilities. So all this means is that Ubisoft pays a balloon payment to Microsoft, which helps to offset their cost of cloud. They also pay an engagement cost. So whenever someone spins up a server and engages with these cloud rights, they're paying an engagement cost. That helps to offset the cost of cloud, because we know that Microsoft have said through that trial that it's more costing them money, or they're just breaking even on this. So this is a way for them to sort of step forward, I think, with cloud at the moment, because the tech's not quite there. But I saw a lot of doom and gloom, a lot of FUD, a lot of fear and doubt happening. But this is not it. I don't think this is a big thing. And if you are a consumer, I don't think this hurts you in any way, shape, or form. I think it's very clever for very many reasons. But I don't want to go on about this for 20 minutes and then just say everything and then skip to the next topic while I don't go to the panel. So, Tim, did you get a chance to check this out? What were your thoughts on it? I know it's a bit of a complicated one, but what do you think? This is a good thing?
Well, listen, I think it's not necessarily I mean, if they had their way, they wouldn't have done this, but you're dealing with CMA, and, you know, they basically wanted a chunk of meat, and they got their chunk of meat. Is it as, like, when it first started, you know, when the first news came out, you had all these stupid takes and people saying, you know, that they're going to, you know, block us, and, you know, we played into their hands, and you saw a lot of, like, stuff like that, but that was silly. I knew not to play into that. But as time went on, I think you kind of know what's going on here. They got what they wanted, and I saw the interview with Sarah Cardell, and she basically, the way she talked prior to when she was, you know, because I've seen interviews with her, I think she's going to be satisfied with this deal. So they had to do it. They couldn't sacrifice the deal for just the cloud, because cloud is really cool, but is it really going to take off? There's so many things that you know, that are up in the air with it, and, you know, it's not really making them a lot of money. So you have something that's so small in the realm of everything that they wanted from Activision. They kind of had to do what they did. So is it a big deal? It really isn't a big deal. Maybe it's a little confusing. But at the end of the day, it's not going to affect anybody on this panel. You just have more ways to connect to get ABK stuff, and I think overall that's what the outcome is. I mean, you're going to have in a way that helps them with the cloud, because you have all these clouds, NVIDIA, all these cloud companies on tap. It might actually have been a blessing in disguise, but yeah, there's nothing to take from it, other than basically, you know, this deal is going to get done. And when it gets done, it's going to be a really big deal. So I'm just waiting for it to get done. I think it's going to probably, like mid-September, September 26th, like around there. One day we're going to wake up and we're going to have probably on a podcast again. I'm very happy. You know, as you guys know, you know, I lost my mind with this whole thing. This has been going on for a year. And I was talking about it all the time, and it was one of the things that kind of got me out of podcasting, because it was just you know, it's just something that we really don't really talk about. It's like law, and it's all these things, government regulations. But at the end of the day, it was just crazy.
Oh yeah, and it's been really nuts. But one of the things as well, and I'll jump into the panel too, is that I don't think a lot of people have sort of, this one is one you got to sit down and think about. I didn't say anything, I don't think, about this for a good couple of hours before I sort of sat down and wrapped my head around it, read as much as I could.
Smartly.
Yeah, and if you think about this, as well as, you know, what's written and then put a bit of thought into it, Ubisoft, very smartly, Xbox has made their interests now Ubisoft's interests. So they're now very closely aligned as partners. And Ubisoft being one of the biggest in the business. Now, Microsoft has got a really good relationship with Ubisoft now. They've got a really good relationship with EA now. they're starting to really push that needle with development and publishing houses to the point where, I mean, look at what's going on with Square Enix. This is just Microsoft doing, I think, fantastic, very smart business moves, very shrewd. Umbra, what did you think of this? And one thing I want to sort of pivot to as well, maybe one of the negatives, is someone said to me, this takes away the loss of the exclusives of ABKs. It takes away some of the uniqueness of Xbox now, and that you won't have that selling point. What do you think? Do you think we lose some uniqueness to the brand?
I think uniqueness is tied to the console warring part. Nobody cares about that. I mean, if you're an Xbox gamer and you are a Game Pass subscriber, you got a W here. There's nothing that changes that. So the only thing I'm frustrated about is that this should have been over already, and you could tell the CMA is trying to get some W here. You know what I mean? That they should have let go. It's the bureaucracy that annoys me more than anything. So that's what that is. Other than that, we're not losing out on anything. We still get the games day and date. We still get those games coming to the platform. If somebody has to pay to stream it to their device, that's on them. That doesn't bother me one way or another. It doesn't factor into anything for me. So I'm fine with it personally. I just dislike that this is the bureaucracy behind it that is getting dragged out because, this governing body wants to try to get a W somehow. We made Microsoft bend the knee or something. It's just tiresome because we've been talking about this for the better part of a full year. Yeah, way too long. And it's just annoying at this point. So other than that, man, I don't see any reason for anybody to be upset if you're an Xbox gamer, really. I don't have too much to say on it. I'm just tired of it. I don't know. If it was something real relevant, I think it's smart, and I know it has led people to believe that, they'll possibly get Ubisoft now, like eventually or something like that. I just don't think that'll happen, but it would be funny. But no, it's not going to happen. But it's a small price to pay with that. One thing that could come out of it positively is maybe Ubisoft Plus. Maybe they can work that out some way with that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But you mentioned something there. Now, for sure, right? I think it's what you were saying, but without saying is that Ubisoft is sort of off the table for acquisition, right?
Yeah, they are. This pretty much removes them from that. And I think they got some clauses set in place anyway with Tencent and whoever else that's invested in them. I saw an article the other day. I didn't fully read through it or can't remember all of the details, but they're pretty much takeover proof for now. But if Microsoft, of course, really wanted them, they could, and if they could really pay for them, of course, but they're pretty much takeover proof, and Microsoft is not interested in buying them because if they were, they would have got them. So that's just not their interest. So that right there is not a worry or concern that anybody needs to be worried about. But I think for us as Xbox gamers, the positive is we know we get those games day and date. We get them into Xbox Game Pass, no problem, and we get all those other amenities of streaming it, whatever, and cross saves and all that type of stuff too. So it's all a positive for us. There's no negative here for us at all. So I'm not worried about some other people with gamers, PlayStation gamers, or Who's brothers or whoever getting a chance to play it. That's irrelevant to me if they pay to stream that. Either way it goes, if Microsoft gets a W there, it's going back to them somehow. So it's whatever. Like if that makes, to me, just feels like a big runaround and unnecessarily so. That's the only thing that would annoy me about it. But other than that, it doesn't change anything for us. So I don't really have much other ways to look at it. But I just hope that maybe Ubisoft Plus can come out of it for us. That's about the only thing I could think.
Yeah, well, hopefully they closely partner with EA. I actually watched an interview with Phil Spencer around about 6 years ago where they were talking about the EA and Microsoft relationship, and it was in a similar way that they're talking about Ubisoft and Microsoft now. So possibly we could see that come down the line. Pete, what do you reckon? Do you reckon this is horrific for Xbox? The deal is dead. We've been talking about this shit for 2 years. Do we want it to just be? What do you think?
I want it just to be over. I would love it if that was the case. I want to give Microsoft kudos here. They have jumped through every hoop that the CMA has asked them to jump through. They could have, after the deal, went down in the courts, the FTC, and I know it fully hasn't, but it for all intensive purposes it has, they could have just literally left the UK because, they were just getting screwed around so much. So I want to shout out Microsoft for that because they really didn't need to go. They've gone above and beyond to get this deal to go through. And it's interesting because in the EU, they made other deals with Nvidia, Boosteroid, Ubisoft, Enware, and now I know there's a clause in the deal that those deals are going to be a subsidiary to this deal because they have to be, because they've been promised to those third-party places already. But yeah, look, this is insanity to me. I want the deal to go through. Phil Spencer said, I think that it should go through before October 18th now. As soon as it goes through in the UK, it will go through in Australia. So that's what I'm waiting for as well. I don't think we lose anything apart from the fact that this is going to be running on Ubisoft servers now and not on the Azure network, So do you think that will impact how the games play? I mean, I wouldn't have thought that Ubisoft's networking would be as good as Microsoft's. That's the only negative side that I can foresee.
Yeah, so it's so on the Ubisoft, if you play it through Ubisoft Plus and they're cloud streaming, it's on their servers. But as well, Ubisoft gets has the rights to sell it to any other cloud streaming service. So it could be PlayStation. Then it will run on their servers. And then we've obviously got Nvidia, a Boosteroid, all those ones that you mentioned, they run on their servers. So yeah, look, I can't see a negative with this. My initial reaction was as a fan of the platform, like, no, I wanted these games to be exclusive. I'm going to be honest, that was my first reaction, which is why I sat down and thought about like every facet of this as much as I could to like really sort of think like, is this bad? It's just there's no way when you look at this, other than for some stupid console warring bullshit on Twitter, that this is bad. Like, oh, it's not exclusive anymore. I really don't care about exclusives, to be honest. I know that they're a necessary evil, but I think they're bad for consumers. Well, that's a whole other conversation. I will say,
I agree. I agree. I think this is also good for Ubisoft Plus. I think that it boosts. I think Ubisoft Plus is way too expensive. I mean, I think it's more expensive than Game Pass, and that's insanity to me. I mean, I don't know why the hell you pick Ubisoft Plus over Game Pass. I get it if you're loaded and you can get both of them and you can get EA Play, you can get all of them. I think that this opens up their portfolio to more than just Ubisoft games. I think it's going to be good for them. I like Ubisoft. I want them to remain, popular. I want them to remain strong. They've been going by the wayside a little bit. It looks like, they've dropped a couple of their games. So hopefully, this makes their portfolio a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And just to circle back real quickly, I did want to say to the ACCC, which is Australia's regulation board, fuck you guys, man. That's for Australia to sit back and not make any decision and just wait. And I know Pete sent an email to them, and so did I. Separately, we didn't even talk about it, and then we just got talking one day. We both sent an email to the guys like, what's going on here?
Nothing back.
Yeah, we are not governed by a tyrant, thousands of miles away. We're governed by a prime minister, and we should be governing our own country and making our own decisions instead of sitting back and waiting for the CMA to make their decision and go, oh, whatever they said. That's
the crazy thing is, Riskit, is when the new deal was done in the government when it came to rating games and things like that. And I know this is a little bit separate, but when it comes to that, we said that we would do it on the basis of, yes, the UK, if they did it, but also Canada, America, New Zealand. So why?
And Germany, yeah.
Yeah, and Germany. Why do we strictly follow CMA? I just think that that's insanity.
Was the Commonwealth 9? I don't want to sit on this too long, but Blue, we haven't actually got any of your thoughts on what's been going on with the CMA. I haven't really. I mean, we spoke, I think, briefly at FanFest about this stuff. It always comes up, but so what are your thoughts? You can just broaden this if you want to, because we haven't got to hear what you think about the entire thing, ABK as a whole, the troubles that they've had with the CMA. Nobody knows. And everything that they've sort of gone through with the FTC, and is this good for gaming? Do you think that the Ubisoft thing affects us as consumers? Did you want to see these as exclusives? What are your thoughts?
3 to 4 months ago, you asked me this question, and I would have been all over it because I found just the legal arguments on it fascinating. I listened to the trial. I logged in all the time when the FTC trial was going on. And I don't know. I find legal stuff like that with arguments really, really fascinating. But at the same time, I am beyond over it at this point. ABK doesn't necessarily affect me personally as much in my gaming space, except for Call of Duty. I don't play WoW, and I played Diablo and wasn't all that impressed, but I mean I think that the ABK probably fills a lot of holes that Xbox feels like it has. So fine, if they want to go out and acquire it and they've got the money to do it, then go do your thing and try. I just, at this point, the CMA, I don't know, it feels like they're trying to do the big stick move, and it's just like, you were wrong. Like you see on Twitter and everywhere else, right? You were wrong. You're trying to save face. I get it. Totally fine. But let's just move this thing along, make it solvent, and just do it. Because I mean, I don't know quite what Xbox would do, but I do think if they just kept fighting it repeatedly, they would maybe eventually close over. But obviously, that's a lot of business problems that come with that. So I don't. At this point, I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
just finish it one way or another. Just put it in the ground and bury it, either closed or dead. I'm done with it, man.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like, I think everyone's and even Tim, as Tim was saying earlier, like it's been sort of tough and sometimes it's interesting and sometimes it's been dead ass boring and there's been so much conjecture and this has been going on for I think like nearly 2 years. Like yeah, you're right. So look, I don't want to sit on this any longer than we have to. Let's move on to shit about games. But before I do, I got a couple of super chats. I'll just jump to them real quick. And thank you for subscribing there, Garfield Robinson. You're an absolute champion. So Shooter 2853 with the $10 super chat, great friend of the show, moderator of the channel. He says, everyone on the panel in the chat enjoy Starfield next week. I want to hear good things from you all. I'll be playing it late. Our thoughts will be definitely with you, Shooter. Absolutely. Even though we'll be playing one of the greatest games in history. And Coco Cho, I think I got that right, Coco Cho, with the $10 super chat. He said, shout out to the panel, especially Tim Dog, a legend in the Xbox community. He definitely is. Absolutely. One of the legends of the Xbox community.
We're all legends.
Legends. Great to have you on the show, man. You're the original, one of the original legends of the Xbox community. It's unbelievable that we actually have you on. Look, I want to jump to Gamescom. Before I do, please hit that like button. If you guys aren't new here, if you're new, subscribe. Consider subscribing. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. If you want to catch us live, hit the bell so you never miss a show. Gamescom. A lot happened to this place. So it's pretty interesting, right? When we had two more people sort of intrude the stage. This is not really a topic, but I was just like, how does that happen again, man? Like, where do you like? I don't know. I don't know Jeff Keighley really well, but just sort of bumping into him, he seems like a bit of a skittish. I'm not really a big fan of the guy, but seems very skittish, very standoffish, and I thought he would be the type of guy, like after it happening last year, that he would like just have the heavies come in and surround him. But no, we got two more crazy people up on stage, which is great. I don't know if you guys were shouting out. I agree with the sentiments though, eh? Like, let's get GTA 6. So hopefully 2K was watching. Just definitely not a topic, but I thought that was hilarious. So I just wanted to call it out. I don't know how the fuck does that happen again.
What's up with them always talking about Bill Clinton, by the way? Bill Clinton wants GTA 6. I'm like, what? Like the guy last year did that. He said Bill Clinton.
Yeah, it's derived from him. His name is Matten, and he's like this YouTube. It's sad that I'm even saying this, but I actually know it. He's like a YouTube guy, and he trolls, and he actually has a pretty big following. So it's him and and that's what they do. He's always been, a guy that splashes, or like he does the impromptus. But I think Jeff was really pissed off this time. He said that this won't happen again.
Yeah. What did he say on Twitter? I think he deleted it too.
Yeah, he said like you won't be seeing this guy again.
It won't be bothering anyone.
Yeah. He won't be bothering anyone else anymore. He erased them.
Yeah, you just see Jeff with like a shovel, like big smile. Yeah, well, look, I do want to talk about. This has been we didn't really get anything new, right, at Gamescom. We got a couple of.
We got a few things.
Yeah, we got a couple little new things, but nothing huge.
Little Nightmares 3.
Yeah, Little Nightmares. But
Killing
we got
Floor 3
of Age of Empires.
Yeah, we got
Killing Floor 3, which I thought was Gears for a minute.
Yeah, right. And we also got a lot of previews like Space Marines 2. That looks absolutely crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to go through and sort of call out the ones that I thought were like pretty stoked for. 2023 and then 2024 going forward. We're just stacked, man. The back end of this generation is absolutely stacked. So yeah, that now this is the other thing. Awesome. Thank you for dropping Age of Empires 4. Where the fuck was that game in 2022? I just wanted to say that. Like, I don't know how many times I had to say that. You had that game in it, like under the folds. Like, why don't you just? I mean, obviously wasn't ready, but Jesus, man, come on. You had no games in 2022. If you'd have shadow dropped that game, would have changed the narrative. But obviously they wanted to get the controllers right. And from the little bit that I played, the controller actually feels good. And if you know me, you know I don't like playing these games without a mouse and keyboard. Dauntless, no one cares what you think. But thank you for coming along and supporting us. Every chat that you do helps. But the ones that I loved personally, and then just open it up, guys, whatever you guys like. Crimson Desert looked absolutely amazing.
It did, man. But it's one of those things. Like, what was that game, by the way, that PlayStation had at their showcase by those Asian developers, by the Chinese developers, and we come to look into it. It was only 2 people working on a game.
Is it Stellar Bus?
A mobile developer.
Was it Stellar Bus?
That's that one. Not Stellar Yams. What was that game? You all remember it. It was that guy, the Asian dude with the sword, doing all those spectacular. No, it was Phantom Blade.
Yep. Yeah.
And come to find out, none of that was actual gameplay. That was just like, work they did behind the scenes. It's not real gameplay. And come to find out, it was only 2 developers that actually work in that place. So that was just a fake, a deep fake. And so I'm kind of worried with Crimson Desert. Now, I trust that is actually a game, Crimson Desert.
Oh, no.
And because we have other games, like we got Crimson, what's the other one? The MMO over there is Crimson, not Crimson, but Phantom Blade. What's the other one they made? Not Phantom Blade.
Black Desert. Yeah, but
Black Desert.
Yeah, but these are legit developers, and I get what you're saying. You're sort of saying it looked a little too good to be true, right?
It did. It looked a little too good to be true. Like, you saw all the stuff they had them doing, the guy doing, 5 different games in there that mix matched into it, right? You had a mix matched. You had Assassin's Creed styling in it. You had Zelda Breath of the Wild styling in it. You had Dragon Age styling in it. It had a bunch of different genre blending games into one.
Forspoken, just a little dash.
A little dash of it, maybe even a dash of Witcher in it, Witcher 3. It just seemed a little too fantastical. And if you look at it, because I paused some of the gameplay to look at it, you could see it said some directional buttons like press up to do this thing here while the guy was fighting in a cinematic fight. So I'm like, we're not even in that fight. That's a cinematic cutscene where you pressing the directional button like a quick time event. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how true all of that is, but it did look good. Visually, it's gorgeous. I just don't know how much to trust with it.
Yeah, man. I still, with the teams, I think as Alvin said, he said the team making Crimson Desert is massive. Yeah, it is. It's huge. And they did a pretty good job with Black Desert, and they supported that game for years. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. There was Black Myth Wukong. That looked pretty sick. I know Pete loved that one.
Yeah. That was the game of the show. Ain't that right, Pete?
Morons.
If you can't tell, Pete was not a big fan. I don't know why. I just look, Monkey Magic. I don't know if you guys know that. We got talking about this a while ago, Infinite, I think. Didn't we? Monkey Magic used to be, it was a show.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a show in China, but it was in Australia as well on our ABC. And it was about Journey to the West. It was real dubbed over B, maybe even D grade like TV, but just so good. So good.
Yeah,
and
classic stuff, right?
Yeah.
Grew up on that.
Yeah, and what was that show that I hate, but you guys love it? Dragon Ball Z, sort of based around.
Dragon Ball Z is based off of that's right.
Yeah.
And Black Myth is too. You're right. All of that is Journey to the West. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited, man. Anything to do with Monkey Magic where he flies on a cloud. I hope he flies on a cloud, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. He has the staff. I forgot what they call that staff, but he has that, the extending staff, like Goku, by the way, had in Dragon Ball. But he doesn't have the Nimbus that we see yet. So we'll see.
Go Gadget Staff, is that what it's called?
Go Gadget Staff. But the Black Myth looks pretty good. It's also kind of falling into that too good to be true thing, but I think that is actual real gameplay. I actually trust that that's real. Did it feel like to you or look to you guys like the visuals were a little downgraded from when we first saw it?
Yeah.
Or was that just me? Yeah.
No,
and this
I think
I was
when we
talking
first
about.
saw it, it was crazy.
You go, Tim, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim. You go, bro. Sorry, mate.
No, I think when you first saw it, I just agree with you. I think it was just like too crazy. Like, and it definitely was a little bit tapped down, but that makes it more realistic in my opinion. Because you're not gonna have a game that's looking the way it first looked in maybe a couple of years or the next generation. But because when I first saw it, I was like, "What is this?"
That's what I said. And now that it's kind of downgraded a bit, it made me believe it was more real. Because at first I was like, that looks too good to be real.
Yeah, a lot of these Chinese developers are really good at showing their games off really well. I actually really like Bright Memory Infinite, so don't get me wrong, I enjoyed that game thoroughly. But I just think that a lot of them are all show, and I worry when it comes to Chinese developers. It's not like I didn't like the game. I thought the combat looked fun. So Dark Souls-esque with a little bit of action adventure thrown in. So I didn't mind that. I just don't particularly like the art style and the muted tones that they were going for. But look, hopefully it's a good game.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be. What about you, Blue? You down? I think the whole. So there was a thing earlier on in the, say about a year ago when it was shown. Everyone's like thinking of it like Shadowblade, like or that game that PlayStation showed with the two developers. Everyone's like, this is too good to be true. We don't think this is going to be it. But Blue, what do you reckon? Black Myth up your alley?
No.
I agree.
Such a detailed, long answer.
I'm sorry. I mean, just cut right straight to the meat and potatoes. No, I kind of agree with Pete on the promise of the delivery of the promise, I guess, right? But it's just not necessarily my cup of tea, my play style. Nothing, it's just not my thing. Little Nightmares got me very excited because I played those, and I'm a huge fan of Inside and Limbo, and even Planet of Lana sort of has that same type of
feel,
movement vibe, but I love that kind of like creepy, puzzling art style thing. So that was, and then Riskit, I think you're gonna argue with you. Age of Empires, if you have not tried it on a console, I used to play it on my PC, and I gotta tell you, they nailed the console, the controller for that. It is fantastic. It's even easier than it is on the computer. I love it. So I'm really excited about getting into Age of Empires 4. But the other ones I saw, it's great that they're coming. It's probably not something that I'll be big into when it does come.
Yeah, so
if it's in Game Pass, I'll try it.
Little Nightmares has a bit of a sort of a different tone this year, right? So it's not quite the.
It's a little brighter, but it also looked a little more action based, I would say. We'll see. I'm excited to see, and they said they're going to change up the setting, right?
Did they give a date for when that was going to be available?
I don't know.
I don't think so. It's probably next year.
Yeah, I would agree. Why would they? I don't think they would announce it now and still have it out before the end of the year.
Yeah.
That game has enough of a cult following, and it's well known enough that I don't think that's just a 2-month announcement. I think it's probably next year.
Yeah, and it looks co-op, right? Sort of like the two of us. or it is co-op. Is it definitely co-op? Because I did not get a chance. This is the trailer that I've got up on screen now. Is the first chance that I've gotten to see it.
The first ones weren't.
Yeah, no, the first one's definitely
yes, it's the Little Nightmares 2. It's
Great.
not definitely co-op, but it definitely looks like it from everything they've shown. So I think they're going for what's that game called?
It Takes Two?
It Takes Two kind
That
of thing,
was
which is
excellent.
great. Wasn't
Yes.
it fantastic? Absolutely loved that game.
I was a doubter when it won, but I hadn't played it yet because I needed to find somebody to play it with. And after I played it, I just was over the moon.
Even the game they made before that with the two
Yeah,
guys. That
I
were
played both of
breaking out
those.
of
There was
jail.
Brothers. He
Yeah.
actually did. He did
What's the name of
Brothers
that?
first. and then No Way Out.
No Way Out.
No
Yeah.
Way
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
A Way Out. That's
Way
it.
Out.
That's
I
it.
played that with Grey Monad. Shout out to Monad in the chat. Great fan of the show.
That game was good too.
And moderator. Absolutely great game. We had a ball playing that.
You know
together.
what? Speaking
he
of
really-
It Takes Two, I never finished that. Holly, you mind playing as the woman, and we can act like we're getting divorced in the game? You want to play through with me?
Yeah. I
Okay,
got
cool.
you. I don't mind
I say
yelling at you through my
It's hard to
through
play
my-
that with a guy and be like, we're getting divorced. I just don't. I won't feel comfortable. I don't know.
I played it.
My mash playing with Pete. You missed the jump, bro. I'm like, you don't sound like a woman.
My friend that I played with, I always used to make fun of the character's butt because it looked like it had a potato. It looked like a little potato. The guy did. I was like, move your potato butt.
I played it with my son, man, and I don't know. I didn't find it too weird. It was. I mean, I guess it is
I
a
played
weird.
with my nephew, Risk.
Yeah.
But I started every time. I was like, I don't know. I need a lady's touch in this game.
I actually think the female character plays better in that game than the male character.
Yeah,
I think that
I
her moveset is more fun.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I want to say is that you guys are talking about Little Nightmares, and I don't want to go into spoilers, obviously, but the way Little Nightmares ended, Little Nightmares 2 ended, really opened a lot. There was like a lot of interpretation of what happened or what was going on there. So I'm hoping that was kind of a way that they're telling the story and that they kind of give you answers. Because I remember that when I mean, like I said, I don't want to go into spoilers and enjoy it yourself if you haven't finished it. But it's one of the better, more crazy endings I felt in video games, and that's why I think it's really welcoming that they have the 3 coming.
Crazier than was it Inside where you ended up like a big ball?
No, Inside was insane. Yeah, Inside.
Yeah.
I it was so unexpected for me at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Inside was a great. I remember that ending. Everyone was talking. That is pretty much one of the craziest.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I didn't like it, Tim. I just did not like it. It was just got too hate. Yeah, I liked the game, but the ending was just got
so
insane.
Good. It did.
I love
That's what
Limbo.
made it great.
Yeah.
I love Limbo. I love. I get where everyone's coming from, Holly. It just got insane for me.
Did you see the collector's edition that they made?
No, I didn't. No.
It took like 5 years to come out after the game had come out. You had to pre-order it, and it was a very small limited edition. But one of the pieces that came out with it was the blob at the end.
Yeah.
It was jelly-like and all of that stuff.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
That is cool.
You'd be sitting
Have
there
you all played through Planet?
stressful.
You all played through Planet of Lana? Similar
I'm like halfway through.
in some ways.
Yeah.
I love
the
Playdead. I
movement
think
style is
Playdead are amazing developers. And they just came to the fore. I didn't know anything about them before they made Limbo. I'm not sure if Limbo was their first game, but my God, that game was beautiful and scary and dark. And I mean, just having a black and white color scheme, I think elevated that game.
Yeah. Did anybody do Somerville yet? I've downloaded it. I just haven't.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. It's not it's not as good.
I played through it. Did not like it.
Yeah.
I think I gave it a 6 or a 6 out of 10. I think, or something like that. I didn't like it.
So disappointed that they moved away what I thought made them great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they sort of opened. Yeah, I don't know, man. It wasn't the same. It didn't have the same feel. It had the creepy feel, but yeah, I couldn't finish it. I played it probably for about an hour, and then I was like, yeah, no, I think I'm done. And some other stuff. I think Plague's Tale came out at that time, so I was straight onto that. Another game I didn't finish.
Pentiment and that game came out literally, I think, a week apart. I think everyone was deciding which one to play. So, Umbra, you went and played Peppermint.
Peppermint.
Peppermint. Oh yeah. I took a peppermint. I put a peppermint in my mouth as I played Pentiment. Yeah, no, I did play Pentiment. I enjoyed it. I beat it. I got all the achievements. I loved it. Honestly, I think it's okay to have games like that go outside of the norm, and I don't mind, like, how do I describe that type of game? Picture book type, storytelling narrative games. I don't mind that. I thought it was pretty fun. I wouldn't want them to keep focusing on stuff like that, but having a little side project here and there, that's cool. It gives some more diversity to the platform, which I think is always a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the good thing about Xbox. They sort of open it up and allow their studios to make what it is that they want. Look, I just want to quickly go through and get what everyone's top game of the and no one can say Starfield until we get to that topic, because we're going to move on to that after this. But my sort of the top game that I saw at Gamescom, but it wasn't really at Gamescom. But for me, from what I've seen, Space Marine 2 looks just absolutely phenomenal. Apparently they're having, they've got demos, not on floor, but I think behind the scenes demos for people to play. And yeah, for me, that just looks like it's, we're sort of going back to, the original Gears, just absolutely. Skill Up did a fantastic sort of roundup of the preview that he had. And I'm pretty excited for that game. So for me, I'm saying Space Marine 2. I cannot wait to see that game. But Umbra
that game looks spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, I'll jump to Tim. Tim, did you get a chance to check out any of Gamescom? What was your standout game?
To be honest, it was Little Nightmares 3. And I kind of like little party animals. I thought like games like that would look good. I'm a big Little Nightmares fan, so for that it was for me. But I didn't see the Space Marine 2, and I have to check that out because I am also a fan of that game. I think the way they've been showing it off looks sick. So
yeah,
I definitely have to get rounded up. But I did see Little Nightmares, saw a couple of other things. The game that we were talking about with the Chinese developer, that looks good too. And obviously they showed some of it. They leaked some of it, but Forza, I think you got a real special game coming on that one. I'll say this much. I asked somebody at Xbox and a couple people, what's best graphical game you think that's coming down? And Forza was like one of the things people were saying. It's kind of like, from seeing what I saw, and I think it was from Irwin. I don't know who put that footage up, but it was off screen, so usually you don't get and it was also on Twitter, which is compressed. But it looks like, I can only imagine if you're sitting in front of that and looking at it, how it looks. So that really impressed me. I think Forza, there were people complaining like 6 months ago. And I made that mistake because I was making fun of GT Sport like 6 months out, and the way it looked and stuff like that. But what I think happens with racing games is like when they really start to ratchet it up and polish it up, and the way the games are made, they really put like the good looking stuff in at the end. And I'm telling you, I think Forza is going to be a sight to behold. So I did see that, and also the game that we're going to be talking about, Starfield. So we'll talk about that in the next section. But that just, I've been asking people behind the scenes and stuff like that, and I'll go into it. But I'm really, really excited for that.
Oh yeah, definitely, me too. Yeah, that game looks like it's going to be a generational game. But Forza, not just the graphics, so. Tim, like when they're talking about with the physics and what they're doing with the tracks and with the engines and the and it's just, that just sounds absolutely nuts. That's the next, for me, it's the next step in this generation or the next generation is really nailing those physics, like getting them right. And in every game. So yeah, that's Forza's definitely high on the list.
one of the things criticizing Xbox or criticizing Sony is that a lot of their games have come up kind of last generational. They're kind of like 4.5s.
Mm-hmm.
And you could even say GT7, kind of the same thing. These are next generation games fully. Obviously, didn't get off to a good start with Redfall, but like Forza, with the type of developer that they are, no, this is going to be a true next gen experience. And I think Xbox has done a good job there. That we really don't have anything else. There's no cross generational games coming out. Everything that we're going to get is going to be like Unreal Engine 5, whether it's going to be, Hellblade 2, or when they announce it, Gears. There's, for a lot of people said show the power. I think that's coming. And Forza is going to be a showpiece for sure. But as you said, the sound and like I was watching the physics, how like you could just see the way just the car like it just jolts, or when you drive over like rough grounds, you can see the axles jiggling up and down, like, or hear it and see it, or kind of know it's there. So yeah, they've done an exceptional job there. And like I said, I think Xbox is going to be really pushing that next generational thing. I'm hearing like God of War, Ragnarok DLC. For me, I'd rather have them just focus on Xbox next generation, and the old stuff, push it as far as they can. You know what I mean? With the next generation, I think there's a lot of leeway. Even though there's a lot of talk about the S, I do think when some of the technology starts, the velocity architecture and some of the things that they built in, it'll get a little more headroom. But
when they start
Forza,
actually using it, yeah,
exactly, which could be 2 years out, but we'll see. It's definitely coming.
Yeah, and I mean, it could be something that they sort of did with, I think, Larian, and well, I'm going to definitely get into that, but I'll jump to everyone's standout. Start off with Blue. What was your standout of the show? What was the thing that sort of got you racing? Was it Little Nightmares 3?
It was. That and Age of Empires 4. I haven't played 3. I've only played 2, so I'm kind of excited to see the massive uptick, in the quality of the or at least, the modernization of the game. And then I know it's not new, but I am like ridiculously excited to play Party Animals.
Yes.
When that comes out. So the more I see about it, and the Xbox consoles that dropped today, I retweeted with the whole thing, and I'm never going to win any of those things, but I'm definitely going to keep trying. So
yeah,
that's
never say never.
That's where I am.
Never say never. I won my won my Series X. So my Series X came through a competition. And I didn't get it. I didn't get it day one. I got it like a month later, which I was a bit annoyed about. But I would have had my console day one, but I won the damn thing, and I couldn't believe it. So you never say never.
Well, okay. Well, then I'm putting out into the world. I really want to win the Barbie one. I even spent Microsoft reward points to buy entries to that. So please pick me.
I would love to.
Barbie girl.
I'd love to win.
I have a Barbie collection. Okay, I'm not ashamed to admit it.
And Umbra's on mute for the next 5 minutes until he behaves.
Holly, maybe you should invite me over to come and check out the old Barbie collection. I'm a Ken of fan myself.
What kind of Ken are you? Are you patriarchy Ken? Because you can just stay away.
I'm looking forward to Party Animals, man. I don't know about the Barbie console. I'd probably set that thing on fire if I won it. But Party Animals, we have a great time with all those party games, man. Like when they come out, we usually hit them hard. The community.
Man, this is going to be fun right here, isn't it, Risk?
Yeah, I cannot wait. The day, I can't remember what game we were playing, but the day that the shark Gang Beasts, the day the shark took Pete off the boat when I was trying to push him off, that was just we were in stitches. That was a great time.
Man,
and this looks like
we were laughing so hard, it was tears coming out of my eye. That was one of our most fun gaming community nights right there.
Yeah, it was nuts. Happy Bomb, welcome to the show. Love Happy, absolute champion. So let's get to the guys. Let's talk about it. Jedi, what's your favorite? What was your showing? Your best showing? The game you're looking forward to the most? The biggest one?
Yeah, the game I'm looking forward to the most is a game that got announced a while ago and then just got pushed back, which is Warhammer Darktide. If I was to design a game, it would be that game. It encompasses everything that I love, that dark narrative. I love the Warhammer universe. I'm very new to it, so I don't know much about it. And it's a co-op shooter, so absolutely ticks all my boxes for me. So very, very happy that got a release date. The only problem is it's in freaking October, which is just ridiculous because I don't know how anyone is gonna have any time to literally play anything. I mean, it falls, I think, right in between Forza, Alan Wake, Lords of the Fallen, and so yeah. And I mean, honestly, it's only a month after Starfield and a couple of days after Cyberpunk Liberty City, and I also think Liberty City showed really well as well. And I know Cyberpunk got a little bit of a bump after Netrunners showed, but now they have fully overhauled the vehicle combat, the police department, the cyberware and perks, the skill tree, the AI combat. So I really think that this game is going to be where it should have been when it released. Yes, but I think it's going to be fantastic. And I mean, I urge everybody not to sleep on that game. Cyberpunk is just fantastic, and I think this is going to make it even better.
Yeah, I mean,
Cyberpunk is spectacular. I love it.
Yeah, it's absolutely trash. Probably one of the worst games that I think has ever been made. And I advise everyone to not
need the
play that
Staples
game
button on you
and burn it alive, burn it at the stake. Cyberpunk trash.
Emotional, damn it.
Sorry. Yeah, look, I know a lot of people love Cyberpunk, but I don't forgive. And I do not forget. No, I don't forgive the fact that they were talking about how it was this new next generational thing and it was going to do all this and it was going to do all that. And then, GTA 5, which had been out since 2013, was just doing so much more and better. But maybe it's gotten better now. Maybe I'll check it out, but still trash. Umbra!
Yeah, wait for them to release the 2.0 or whatever they're going to release. Risk, I definitely think you're going to love it, mate.
I'll try it out. Umbra, what's your top game if you had to pick
top
one?
Game would surprise me because we had a good amount of good games shown, and this one I'm not the biggest fan of because, as I've told you all many times, I don't care for its multiplayer.
Peppa Pig.
But Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 took me by surprise. I was shocked by how taken I was by that game, and it looks so damn good. For one, visually, it's just crazy. It looks like real life. It looked like a movie I was watching. But this is actually you moving through, infiltrating, coming and rappelling up this fortress, basically out of the Baltic Sea or whatever they were at, and you're stealthily taking people down. It gave me Splinter Cell vibes / I don't know, Jack Ryan. I don't know. It gave me a bunch of Rainbow Six. It gave me everything, man. It felt crazy to see all of that. And now they have this new system in it, the what they call the open combat mission design, which allows it more for sandbox style gaming akin to Halo. And so you can tackle these missions differently. And so that means it's much more replayability because you can approach things in a very different way. And then, of course, you got some of the classic beloved characters in there, like Soap and everybody else. So it's like, why wouldn't you enjoy this? I didn't yet play Modern Warfare 2, the remake, which I know you love, Risk.
That's great.
So I was waiting because I know it's going to come to Game Pass. But, man, I saw this and I was like, man, I want to play this. And, of course, we got No Russian right here that's in here. So I definitely want to play that. I don't think I'll be buying it, though, because, again, the multiplayer is not my thing. Although I know you all have tried to urge me to get into that like that, but I don't think it's for me. But that really surprised me. That actually stole the show, believe it or not, for me. That said, I mean, we did have some really good looking games. I'm with Pete on Cyberpunk. That looked phenomenal. And they added so much stuff that actually goes to the core game too, outside of the DLC. And somebody asked when it drops to September 26th. I don't know if it was answered already, but yeah. So that Cyberpunk did look really good. They put a lot of new stuff in there, new weapons, new vehicles, new systems. The police actually police now. Like it's a new game, and it's essentially how the game should have launched. That's the beautiful thing about it. Well, hey, don't need to say it trumpets. It sold 20 million copies. So, but it's a bunch of games that have really blew me away. Like you guys with Little Nightmares, I am excited for that. I haven't played part 2 yet, but I did beat part 1. I want to play through part 2 and then eventually play through that. So a lot of good stuff. I think it was enough for everybody diversity wise, where you could, everything that was shown, you would find something that you like. In my
Phil
opinion,
Spencer did mention that it's going to probably take them a while to get all the games onto Game Pass, especially all the Call of Duty games. It's not like they can just do it straight away. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Call of Duty is worth buying just for the campaign? I mean,
yes,
it depends.
If I could buy the campaign separately, if they matter of fact, if they allowed us just to buy the campaigns, I would buy the campaign by itself.
Yeah, so
if they gave it like at a discounted price or something like that.
They should do that.
I would say this.
Right?
I would say this to you. I would say the campaign plus the raids plus the other PvE stuff that they have. I think there's a couple more things you can do. There's enough content in there if you don't want to play multiplayer, you don't want to play Warzone. I mean, Warzone's separate anyway. For it to be worth the $70, just the campaigns themselves make you feel like a badass SAS. To me, COD is they just keep sort of stepping it up every year, and they should have. And that's the other thing, like with COD, and what they're talking about this year, keeping the same code, and people trying to make that out to be a bad thing. That's a great thing. They should have done it with 2019. They had a winner. They should have kept iterating on that. They've got a winner with Modern Warfare 2. Iterate on that and just keep it as I don't care. I hate to say the word live service, but just keep iterating on that game and making it better. I mean, look at Fortnite now. Look at where we came from to where we are. Imagine where COD could be, and it would cost them a lot less money. We'll get more games out of those studios. There's just so much there that's a positive if you just keep iterating on what you have, as opposed to trying to pump out a brand new one every year and getting a Black Ops I thought was terrible. I know a lot of people liked it. And then Vanguard, you got 2 bad and then you come up with 1 good. Yeah, I think what they've done this year is the way to go. The way to go.
What do you think about all the maps already leaking Riskit? And basically what they've done is they've just made Modern Warfare, 3 or 2 maps redone. So I think there's 16 of them. 16's a great number. And for someone like me that hasn't played them, that's going to be great. I get that I'm going to be at a disadvantage because people are going to know the maps. But to me, I don't think it's a bad thing. And I think there's been long enough between the games as well. But I'd like
they're still going to it's not like they're just literally pulling the assets, right? They're gonna upgrade them and probably modernize them a little bit.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like they do Shipment, where Shipment's a concept, not necessarily the same map, right? But
they'll give it the PlayStation treatment. Yeah.
but look, if they didn't have the carryover of all of the stuff that you bought from Modern Warfare 2 to 3, I probably would have waited, kind of boycotted it a little bit longer for the price, because it is sort of, it's $50 DLC, right?
Let me ask you guys, Holly, you would know. Does this have the zombies mode in it too, the Modern Warfare?
It's going to have zombies this time. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does. And it's going to be a direct sequel to the open world one that I loved, Risk. What was the name of it, mate? I forget.
It is an open world zombies. So, you talking about Warzone?
No. The game before Vanguard. I used to play it all the time. The zombie mode before Vanguard.
Call of Duty.
Name of the game.
Stupid crap ops. Yeah. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the Black Ops. Yeah. So it's a direct sequel to the Black Ops Zombies, I heard, and I absolutely love Black Ops Zombies. I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah. I mean, that was good.
Any of those.
That was really good. I'll have to carry Zorka again, man. He just made it tough. Guy's terrible. But no, he wasn't. He actually carried me, picked me up.
It's a toddler.
That zombies is open world, so it's in the sort of the Warzone map, I think. So it's going to be huge. That's sort of very interesting to me. How you're going to manage that, because it's been a very linear, funnel you to here, funnel you to there, funnel you to there since its inception. So this is a big change for it. So that's also pretty positive. I think Modern Warfare is definitely worth it. Umbra, I think you just definitely got to go and get to play through the campaign. You'll love that, and
I
then
do want to play it, man.
Play some of the raids.
But so
And,
I would say too, as far as other games, just to throw it out there before we go too far with this, is that other games that did look really, really good and presented really well. Mortal Kombat 1. Like I haven't played Mortal Kombat since I don't think, man, since like 3 and stuff like that. So I'm way behind, but that looks really damn good. Alan Wake 2, like you mentioned, Risk, looks spectacular. Last Epoch, you all saw that as basically like a Diablo style game. That looks really good. And it was another one. What was that?
Alan Wake 2 looked amazing. That looked absolutely
look really good.
like crazy amazing.
Looked much better than I thought it would have looked. Oh, Lords of the Fallen. That's it. Lords of the Fallen looks dope.
Yeah, we are hitting the Unreal 5 games now, Umbra, and so they look beautiful. Lords of the Fallen, and I cannot wait for. I mean, that is exactly the game I love to play. I love how you get a second chance and you go from the Umbra world into the Astral world. I love that concept. I know that Umbra will be a lot harder, but it still gives you that second chance, you know, to be able to, you know, work your way, because I hate dying in, you know, Dark Souls games. It gets infuriating.
Look at that.
I've never heard you die in a Dark Souls game.
And Alan Wake 2 looked amazing as well. And look, so did Forza Motorsport. The games that are coming down the pipeline now are just absolutely beautiful, and it's what we bought the systems for. It took a lot longer than we were all hoping for. Look, I think on that interview that Phil Spencer did, he said that they're not going to be.
We are going to jump to that in a minute. We are going to jump to that in 2 minutes.
I was just going to say they're going to be showing more games more often now. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, he did mention that. Before we do jump to that, guys, I've got a couple of super chats I want to read, but Alan Wake looked absolutely amazing. We'll jump on to the next topic, which is Phil Spencer. He had a fair bit to say to Destin. And Destin did ask I would say, hard questions. One thing I was just thinking about with Alan Wake there before we do move on, though, is will it be 30 FPS? Ooh, I hope we're not hitting a 30 FPS sort of a bottleneck with.
I think it's 30. I think, and that's one of the games I did forget. That blew me away. But I can see that 30 for a second. Maybe a performance mode, but the way that game looks. I can see it being 30. It's just unbelievable looking.
Yeah, that's my concern.
Yeah, I agree. It depends on how it plays, because it's not really a Twitch shooter. So, you know, it's more of a horror genre game with action elements into it. So those type of games, I don't particularly mind that they're 30, but I'm hoping we get 60 out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for a performance mode, but it's been sort of started to become the norm that. I guess not. It's more the norm that we do have a performance mode, but I think developers are starting to lean more towards that graphical still, which is an issue, especially if you own a potato, otherwise known as a Series X. No, I'm kidding. Kidding, guys. Calm down the chat. Calm down.
Stop.
They're going to lose it.
Stop.
Jay Rembrandt with the $5 super chat. He says, shout out to Tim and my fellow Chicagoan Infinite Umbra, and he completely left out Blue. Blue is also a Chicagoan. Shame on you, Jay. Shame on you. No.
Chicago, stand up. Blue, we're taking over.
I hear
you against these Australians.
I hear the pizzas over there are just absolutely horrifically bad, so no one likes to go to Chicago just based on the pizza.
I'm so jealous. I live in the greatest city ever, Melbourne.
Yeah, right. You probably got like 8. You probably got 8 predators aiming at you right now. Some type of animal.
Between the spiders, the scorpions, the snakes, and
drop bears and kangaroos.
Between you and your mailbox.
No,
teeth and claws.
They don't have predators in Melbourne. They've got baristas. Similar, but not the same.
Best coffee in the world, my friend.
I tried one of those white things in LA that Riskit kept talking about. I was like, what is that?
Flat white. A flat white.
Things.
Where's the coffee?
White things. Riskit, did you go to the red light district, brother? Or?
No, not one of those things.
The white things. Huh?
No, I left. That was.
Okay.
No, but she's talking about. She's talking about a flat white. And weirdly, the hotel that I stayed in had a Aussie cafe. So they actually sold flat whites, which is just a type of coffee. It's just a basic coffee. It's the best coffee on the planet. just the best.
It's not.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
No,
Definitely is.
latte is the best coffee on the planet.
I've seen Americans and it's like
Starbucks is the best.
you guys like drink that like black coffee. It's like mud. You have to eat it with a spoon. It was horrible. What was it called? An Americano or something? Is that
Americano?
Is that what it's called? Is that
Americano?
Is that the black coffee? The like really strong 68 shots in a tiny glass coffee? Or,
It's like an espresso. Yeah, that's like an espresso
Yeah,
with a
it's
water.
espresso's
That's
in
an
it,
Italian thing.
I mean, we have espressos over here, but they weren't like your ones. Like, I thought I would get one just to wake me up, and it was a mistake.
Yeah. I get cafe mistos. Like, I don't know if you all have ever had that, but I get it with oat milk in it and
Oh my God, you're an oat milker? You have a touch of soy?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I knew you go to. I knew I was almost tempted not to say it. I'm like, don't say it. And I was like, he won't get me on it. He got me. But Alvin, he said, I argue Chicago is way more dangerous than Melbourne. Well, yeah, but it won't, be some
It's
wild,
overblown.
Yeah.
wild creature that got you.
It'll be the
some-
humans.
Some wild gangbanger, maybe. But yeah.
Oh, Americanos are plain coffee.
Good point.
Yeah. So our coffee is the Roshan. Eppinger says Americanos are plain coffee. Yeah, so's a flat white. But it's just got a bit of milk in it, because I'm still weaning off that stuff. Anyway, look, we got to move on to the next topic with the Phil Spencer interview and Destin. There's a lot to unpack here, and everyone would have taken
Risk.
lots. Yep.
Risk. Highlight what Red Monkey Butt said he drinks.
That's not cool. It's good for him if he likes the flavor. I imagine it would be tangy.
You like it, I love it.
So Phil had a lot to say, and the thing that me and Umbra were talking about in the green room, and it started to go back and forth about this because we have very differing opinions on how this should have gone. Be interested to get everyone's take on this. Also interested to get Tim's take as well. But with this so after this interview, they talked about the Series S, they talked about split screen, they talked about Larian, and then very recently after the interview, obviously Phil went and had a conversation with Larian, and they've decided to release Baldur's Gate on Xbox. So this is sort of a bit of a coupled topic. They've decided to release on Xbox, but they've released split screen on the X, not on the S. So a couple of things with this, and I'm going to jump to Umbra because I know he's got some stuff to say here, but a couple of things. This is a very strange time for them to make that decision. If you were going to make this decision, it should have been 6 months ago. And timing has been a thing with Microsoft since day fucking one, and they need to sort this shit out. Like, make the decision or don't make the decision, but don't make it at the wrong time or not make it at the wrong time. You've got it's on the heels of Starfield, which comes out in less than 2 weeks, and now you're making a decision to scrap the parity clause or shift that line, which I don't think they should have done. Now they're going to have those conversations with different developers. Like EA comes to the table and goes, well, you let Larian do it, and they're a much smaller developer, blah, 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 blah. We've got a big AAA release, and we can't put this on the Series S in time, so blah, 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 blah. I think it opens a massive can of worms. And also, with Starfield coming, this didn't need to happen. I think this is just sort of a real... I don't agree with this decision. I think it's a stupid decision that they made for all the reasons that I said that they shouldn't make it in the first place. And obviously, Umbra, you have a bit of a differing sort of opinion. It also doesn't look good for the Series S. I mean, that's something else that Destin sat down and said, hey, if Forza 8 doesn't have split screen? Well, and he said, no, it's got nothing to do with the Series S. But, well, now you're making it seem like it does. So, Umbra, what do you think?
Well, you all know my stance on that before. I was actually very, very passionate about it before, where I said that they should have just simply released the games and patched it in later. That's my belief. I stick to that. I think that was the right decision. And I think this was the right decision. Now, what surprised me is that they released it on an X. It's going to have split screen, but not on the Series S. It's like, why not just not have it from both and then put it in later for both if you want to do that? But I would go further and say I don't care if you don't put it in there or not. But I know there are some people like Eric Reed, for instance, in the chat. Shout out to Eric Reed, who him and his, I believe he said his missus actually play split screen, and he has the S. So I respect that. I don't want to just write people off. That's not fair. It's just because I am the premium console owner. But the thing is I think it made sense, and it was something that had to be done. I do agree with you on the timing. Microsoft clearly should have communicated with them way sooner. I don't know why this was a last-second surprise for them, and it seems to happen too often where they just like caught, with the hand in the cookie jars, so to speak. So timing is absolutely, I agree with you. Like that should have been worked out. It should not have been an issue where it snuck up on them and, oh, guess what? We can't get the game to come out on your platform. I still do feel a bit of shadiness, well, not shade, but shadiness with Larian. And I think you all would agree, because it's weird that they pushed it back, or pushed it forward rather, with the PC release, and just so happened to push the console release for PlayStation to September 6th. It's just too coincidental to me to release right when Starfield was about to release, but there is no Xbox version. So it just seems very odd. I do believe that the S is restrictive, so they have to find a way to get around that to make it work. Not that it can't, but that it takes more elbow grease, right? But I feel like now that that's out of the way, and the game will be coming this year, it takes some of our Hoove brothers, one of their little talking points, and they try to use the Baldur's Gate as a de facto exclusive when now it's not. So I'm expecting the game to drop maybe November, if not October, to Xbox. I don't see why it would have to hit December for that. I mean, the game is largely.
I would stay away from October. Yeah, they probably should, but I can see it maybe late October, if not November, that it would release to the Xbox, for consoles. And my thing, I think, it's just smart. I think, as I said before, they have to be flexible when it comes to the parity thing, because you cannot have an instance in the future. Let's just say again, I'll say it again. In the future, if there is a major AAA game, like say a GTA 6 by Bill Clinton that he likes, apparently, and that game somehow something is held back from it, and we have to wait because the Series S, they have to figure that out, we're going to be pissed. See, most of us are kind of whatever on Baldur's Gate, because most of us are not going to go play that. It's niche. As great as it is, most of us are not going to go jump into that game. We can do without that. Plus, we got a game of the generation in Starfield about to drop. So that didn't really register to us like that. We were kind of like, yeah. But I contend that if this happens again, and it's a major game that we do care about, it's going to be a problem that Microsoft don't want as far as optics go. So I feel like this was the right decision here, and that they should be flexible when it comes to that parity thing. But to that, okay, so now they've moved the line, right? So now they've moved the line, and so what if they start, so on the next one, say it's GTA 6, and they're like, oh, fuck it, we'll just move the line again, right?
Yeah.
Then you've just pissed off, or you've just shat on your entire the
Series
largest
S holders,
the last part of the biggest part of your fan base.
So it sounds like you're telling them they should hold the line. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I think they needed to hold that line. Like, I really do. Like, it didn't look good, but this looks fucking. If I was a Series S owner and only, I mean, I am, but if I only had a Series S, I would be pissed, and I really don't care. Yeah. I've got Starfield coming out. There's so many games coming out. I really don't care. But you're right. If a game like this lands in a spot where there's not much happening, and this is the game, and everyone wants to play that game, and then you can't get it on your Series S, or you get a diminished version, and Xbox has told everyone, they've told everyone that buys an S, you're getting the same experience just with a reduced resolution. You've just lied to your entire consumer base. That's not cool.
Well, I think lied is too strong a word, though, right? Don't you think it's maybe too strong a word?
I don't think it is, to be honest. I think that they have really done disservice to Series S owners, and I get that it's split screen co-op, and I know that Microsoft have the numbers to determine how many people play that, but I don't care. It should be parity. If you were gonna take it off the S, it should be taken off the X as well. That would have been better for me. They have now not held that line. They've broken their promise to all Series S owners, and I think it's sets a really dangerous precedence going forward now.
Mhm.
So now other developers can then go to them and say, well, hey, you dropped this function for the Series S for this game. Well, our game's not as important to you because we don't want to implement this feature as well. And that's what I worry about. Now, I don't care about split screen. I'm extremely
Yeah.
happy that Baldur's Gate is going to be coming out this year. I think they'll go for the December release date just because there's way too much before that, and I can't see that much in December, so I think it'll be a good time for them. But yeah, I don't like the optics of this one little bit.
Tim, I just want to jump to you because I know this Series S has been something that we, as the community, have talked about. You've been pretty vocal about it. What was your stance on what they've done and what they should have done?
Well, I think definitely is not an optimal situation for them. In hindsight, they probably should have went with 12 gigabits of RAM instead of 10. I believe they kind of shortchanged themselves there because they probably thought they were going to use more of the technologies or the more of the technologies like velocity that would be adopted, which I know the Lorian said that they weren't at that point that they could use it. Listen, in the reality, I think they did what they had to do. It's not a great thing. Everyone on this panel, you know, Jedi, he's upset. I get that, but I think that in the end of the day, you have to get the game out. And unfortunately, now the door's open. Like like Jedi saying that you might get some developers that say, hey, it's too tough, and you got to we can't do this, and they'll threaten them. So I think it's going to be a little bit of rough waters for Series S for a little, but I do think as the generation goes along that if they start using the technologies that they put into the box, whether it be FSR 3.0, velocity, um, certain things that they're
RS was a big
doing,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So like that's exactly VRS. That's some of the things that hopefully can help it out, but it's definitely not an optimal situation. Definitely a situation that's going to rear its ugly head. But if I look at it and I really think, will it hurt them? I don't think so, because I think if you could get it to a price point, 250 or 199, you kind of, and for what it delivers, you kind of have to kind of understand that
Mm-hmm.
you're not paying 600 or 500. Um,
Agreed.
so it is what it is. I think looking in hindsight, the engineers they probably wanted the 12, but they made this decision, and I'm curious to see how S does with and the consoles do when these games start releasing, and Starfield's going to be one of them to really start it. They have to start selling better. I mean, it's not the end of the world. They're always going to make a console. They always could be in third place because they have so many other things now. They're so diverse, and they're in many things like mobile, and they're building the right way. I think in a lot of aspects. But the console should sell more. I would think. I mean, you know, get the supply out there and make a run. I honestly, it's going to be very interesting the next couple of years to see where this goes because at this point, I would say the sales are not where they thought they would be. I think they would be in a better position. They basically kept their position with Xbox One and haven't grown. They were doing good in the beginning, but a lot of that was because of the silicone shortage and decisions being made. And now it's gloves off, and I do think that Xbox is going to have a really strong streak now, and a lot of the misnomers are going to go away. And I do think Sony's going to have some rough times. There's a lot of decisions that they've made in the future that they looking to have. They're always going to be, a strong competitor, but Xbox has to do better, and you kind of get these problems sorted out. Lorien probably just had too much on their plate, and that's why they did what they did. I don't think that they were nefariously, trying to get this. I think they just were. They couldn't get it. They couldn't get it done, or they had ATG there, obviously, Advanced Technical Group from Xbox, and maybe if they started with Velocity Architecture, that they could have gotten it done. But I think that they were, banging their heads against the wall, and I don't think they'll be the last one. But I do think that you have to evaluate the situation, and that's what Phil did, and said, you know what, we gotta break his stance, and it probably will hurt him in a little way. But in the end, when Baldur's Gate comes out, and with all the games that Xboxes have, memories are short.
Yeah, well said, Tim.
I agree with you completely. It's a very, very well thought out statement. I was one of those people who said you shouldn't, because of the parity, to be fair to everyone, because we've got this entry level console and Xbox is really trying to, buy a lot of goodwill with everyone. And the low entry market point with that, with the Switch and having that easy buy for a secondary console for PlayStation people, it's a great box. And I have 2 of them. I travel with it when I have to travel for work and other things. And it's absolutely fantastic. So, you're gonna disparage a lot of that goodwill that you do have with the S, or people who only have an S as the optional in their house if you start cutting off bits and pieces of games for those people, right? And it may not matter necessarily to them, right? I don't think there's there's nothing more than single digits, I would suspect, of people that are worried about not having split screen for a Series S for Baldur's Gate. Having said that, I did feel a little just felt like it was a little stinky that Larian decided it was okay to release it on PlayStation and didn't just hold the PlayStation port for when the Xbox One was ready as well and just release it at the same time. That was not my favorite thought, but it's really the key moving forward. And you're right. There's going to be other issues coming up with other games for a variety of reasons. And I think how they handled this one probably wasn't the best marketing for them, right? Because Baldur's Gate people knew it was coming, but man, it really has just kind of blown up everywhere, right? Everybody's talking about it. Yeah. And, even if you're not really interested, I have a friend who has talked to me about playing it. He just randomly started talking about it. It has nothing to do with the combat. I could care less about the combat. It's about all the other stuff, that you run into along the way, and telling me about the crazy ridiculousness that he's playing. And it's funny, right? But really, to take it back to Series S and how Xbox handled this, if they knew that, and I think we've known for a while, right, that split screen on an S is just probably not going to happen, right? Halo kind of showed us that that's where it was going. And what they should have done is just done a full announcement at the beginning and made this decision before release dates were set, and this decision to hold the game later was done. So anything moving forward, if they're going to cut some feature from the S version as opposed to the X, it just needs to be decided before. They're going to stick with it, move with it, and have it release at the same time as PlayStation or PC or, whatever platforms the game maker is targeting. It's probably not the best PR, and it's just a prolonged PR problem too, right? Like if this had just been announced when they announced the game dates, there would have been a kerfuffle, and then it just would have been swept under the rug and away we go, right? But it's just, unfortunately, we all love Xbox here, obviously, but they just seem to always have these snafus all the time. And it just seems like
it's
hindsight's always 20/20, but they're not necessarily always picking up on those, it seems.
Yeah,
and it's really
we want to get our
annoying
beer
that-
loving on over here. That's what we want. We want our beer love. Can we get that?
It's really annoying, and going back to Tim's
Keep that
point,
to
that they're
yourself.
not using velocity architecture, that they're not using VRS, that they waited for the fully RDNA feature set for the Xbox going and that's why they went into this generation going so hot, and then the features aren't even being used by developers. And I think Boba pointed out that is it the developer's fault, or is it the memory, or is it developers not knowing the console? I think it's a little bit of both, and I think going forward, you're gonna like Booty said. I think, and I said last week that they're gonna learn to optimize better going forward, and they're gonna find those jagged edges and learn how to smooth them off. But the optics of this just aren't good, and I don't care what anyone says. The optics are terrible. There should be parity. I think if you look at the split between X and S owners, I think it's 70% to S consoles. So going forward, Microsoft can't allow this to happen anymore.
Yeah, look,
I don't know if
absolutely.
it's that big of a split, but sorry, Risk. I just want to say, I do get you on that, Pete. But I think the optics are bad either way. I think this is the least of the as they say, the two evils.
Right.
Personally, I think getting it out and just having it out there matters much more than some honor or integrity of them saying we're going to have parity. To me, I think that's just the thing. We want to hold to that, sure, and it does matter that they stated something that they didn't hold true to. But what matters more, getting the games in our hands or having a split screen feature that most won't use? I think getting the game out matters more.
You know what it is too. We talked about. You said it was a little bit of both. I think most of all, even though Activision's been bought by Xbox, you won't really have a problem with big developers that have a ton of people working on it. But when you do go to these smaller studios, to get things to work, from what I've heard and the complaints, it just could just you have to push more resources into it. And I think as a developer, that's where they're getting pissed off at is that they got to do so much extra work just to get it to work. It can be done, but the resource aspect of it is also what I think is eating away. I've read some things that a lot of developers have complained. So I mean, I do think it is part of both, but I do also think that the bigger developers that have a lot of people on it, it's easier for them to deal with. But like a studio like Lorien, or 100, these devs with 100 people, and not like 1,000, it's a more of an undertaking, and I think that they feel that they're probably, like I said, and like the panel has said, that they're going to have to come to some type of deals if they can't get these games, because you can't have the game not come out. Basically, as that blue number was saying, it's their luck is just the game turned out to be a huge hit. If the game wasn't a big game, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, and Phil probably wouldn't have been asked. They probably wouldn't have done this. But being that the game got a 97 Metacritic, came out of nowhere, I think we all expected it to be good, but I don't think anybody expected this to be, the game that everyone's talking about, and 97 Metacritic and Game of the Year. But that's just sometimes the way the ball rolls. It always seems to hurt Xbox. They get the worst luck with this stuff. But yeah, I mean,
they do.
It's definitely a problem, and it's I think it's time to not make excuses, because I mean, in the beginning I said, you got to see how they should use these things, and they should get it to work. But I
And
think
they also
definitely.
changed their GDK at the start of the generation, which I think is
Yeah,
taking teams to learn. And you're right, Tim. Like, and it goes back to your earlier point that I think Microsoft wanted to be more ahead in the amount of sales, and I think it makes a difference because a team like Larian are going to focus on PC and PlayStation because before they focus on Xbox, because the player base is just bigger on those consoles.
Yeah, well,
And so
that's true as well. That's also true. I agree with all that, but there's a point at which you got to stop making excuses. And there's been a few guys in the chat saying, we got to stop blaming the Series S. And look, I don't think the word blaming the Series S or the phrase blaming the Series S is what we're doing. We're calling out something that's clearly a problem. Like, this is clearly a problem. It's not just once, twice. It's not even 5 times. I think we're up to about this is the 8th time we've heard the Series S is causing developers an issue. And then there's only so much you can ignore or make excuses for until you sort of got to turn to Xbox and say, get your shit together. I would call out as well that it was I think there's some of the thinking at the beginning of the generation was maybe a little bit more optimistic than they should have been. When you're talking about a company like PlayStation that had such a lead that doesn't have the feature set that the Xbox has, the velocity architecture, the all the RDNA 2 tools that could be used to eke a little bit more power out to get that overhead. They're not going to use those tools on the smallest platform that there is. PC's a bigger platform, PlayStation's a bigger platform. There's 2 bigger platforms for them to worry about where they're going to get those sales. So why would third-party developers use those tools? You've got to make it attractive to those developers to use those tools. So I think you can never. Speaking of Jason Ronald at FanFest, you can never. And I did ask the question, would you just scrap a generation? And he said you just can't do that. You've got to look forward. 5, 6, 7. Sometimes 10 years to what is likely to happen and start thinking about developing your console for what you think's going to happen there. So, it's a bit of a tough one, but they found themselves in that situation. Like Tim said, maybe they should use that 12 megabits. But now that you're in the situation, I think the decisions that you make are extremely important. And Umbra, when you were saying that, it's the lesser of 2 evils, I don't think so. I think that, you're setting yourself up for failure in the following generation. They say that they just, and I hope they don't, but say they decide to run an S into the next generation. Are you going to trust that S is going to be able to do what they say it's going to do? I'm not. I don't think I would. Unless the specs come out and bear out that, hey, yeah, definitely they're going to be able to run these games at the same, or at least at parity with lesser pixels, then yeah, there's a lot that goes into game development. There's a lot that goes into hardware development. But when you make a statement like the S is just is a box that just doesn't do 4K, but it does everything the X does except for 4K, which is pretty much what we've been told, like the long and the short of it. And then it can't do split screen. It can't do 60 FPS in a lot of circumstances. That's something. And it's not just there's a lot of games where you haven't done 60 FPS.
Risk. It has, right? And it's got more one games at 120 than PlayStation, for instance. So the thing is not a joke. The S is viable, but the thing is there's less of the console itself and more of the PR. That's the problem. Because like people in the chat said, they're not wrong. Even Tim Dog said it. It's not the fact that they said this so much. It's not the fact that the S is the issue. It's the fact of what they stated. But I think that's where you all go wrong at it, because I think you all are putting way too much on, well, they said this. But the problem is you can't expect the S to do what the X does. The X is just more powerful. There is no 2 ways about it. And so it missing certain targets or them having to work harder to get it to work on it should be a thing that you're going to have to understand. And I'll go further than that. I don't think they're going to have an S-type situation next gen. I think they're going to probably keep it to one SKU, personally.
Yeah. I think it'll be that and a streaming box.
Exactly, streaming type box, digital, all digital, and a physical maybe. I don't think they're going to have the affordable.
I agree.
What's the word I'm looking for? Casual type box.
I agree.
But even beyond that too, I want to add
maybe a handheld.
I would hope they do. I would love for them to get a handheld. I would love it. I got the ROG Ally now, and I'm going to turn it into my Xbox Portable. But and to go further with that, I think those who have the S should realize, hey, I don't have the premium console here. I can't be expecting this thing to be doing, pulling a 4090, as everybody would say, when I have the 1060 or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing out random stuff, but you get what I'm saying. Like it has to be an expectancy that you're getting the casual box, and the casual people who are buying it are not. Let's be real here. We are as hardcore gamers. We are the only ones who are going to be like, man, why can't this do this? The most casual people, the majority of people who bought it, like people saying it's a 70-30 split, those people don't care about what we're talking about right here. All they care about is that they can play Fortnite, Madden, Call of Duty, or whatever. They don't care about any of this split screen stuff and all of these other things. That doesn't matter to them one bit. This is a discussion to us as hardcore gamers, and typically most of us have the X. Let's just be real.
I agree with that.
That's the way I look at it.
Phil reiterated that point as well. That and I don't know if your assumption is right that they're not going to have a lower SKU. I mean, Phil continually says that he just wants more people playing games, and the S has been one of the main reasons why so many people were able to buy a console this generation. The price of that little machine is amazing for what you get out of it. It is a fantastic machine. It is,
and 9.9 times out of sorry, Peter, I was gonna say 9.9 out of 10 times, it is just as good as an X as far as like being able to play games and all of the things.
Agreed.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I can't.
Agree.
The little guy's great.
And you both are right. It's the optics that, because we got too many Hoove brothers, let's just be real, who are throwing FUD out there and making things worse than what it is. It's not us. It's not the gamers on the Xbox side. It's like, man, why can't this S do what I want it to do? It's not us doing that. So it's more of the vocal majority online that's doing it. But the casuals don't care about this stuff. This doesn't matter to. That's why I said what I said before. Like, who cares about the split screen thing? I was probably a little bit too, exaggerative and too harsh in how my tone was. But I say that because most of us do not care. Holly, you said it earlier, like single digits, probably. I know it's going to be more than that, but it's comparatively, it's nowhere near most of us who don't care about split screen anymore. It's just an outdated concept that nobody really uses like that anymore. We've moved past that, honestly, because this new digital age and
I don't know,
online gaming, we've moved past it largely.
I still stick a cardboard box on my TV every now and again and go to the split screen. Don't look at my screen. You were looking at my screen. Don't look at my screen.
I can't play split screen anymore. I mean, even on my 75-inch TV, I just hate that much screen being taken away from me. I don't like it one little bit.
Me.
But yeah, look, like I said before, I think the Series S is a fantastic machine. I do think that going forward, there's a place for that type of machine going forward, but Xbox needs to up their sales. They need to get some sort of parity with PlayStation. I'm hoping the Activision Blizzard King deal can get them there, because then when more games focus on making games for the Xbox first, then more developers will spend more time on making specific games for the Xbox. And I think marketing comes into account there. I think Call of Duty is going to be massive for that. And I think Xbox deserves it, to be honest. I mean, if you look at the games that's going to be coming out this generation, Xbox is by leaps and bounds ahead of PlayStation.
Yeah. Look, I do believe that. I think the narrative is going to shift with the next topic that we jump into, but I will agree with you, Umbra. I think that if they do make an S, it's a mistake. I don't think they should. And Tim as well, I think, agrees with that. I think it's a really bad. And if they do make an S, it's got to be a totally different sort of thought process as to, what you've got the benefit of looking at this generation and what developers did do, and not what was possible. I think they were looking at what was possible, and as you said, Tim, it's resources. You've got smaller studios that just don't have those resources and time to put into these games to make it run on the S. And yes, a lot of people will say that Larian's not a small studio, but it's not. You're not talking a Naughty Dog. You're not talking where they bring in 2,000 developers to finish off The Last of Us. It's 2,000 developers worked on that game. So and this is a infinitely bigger, more complicated game. So yeah, I could completely understand. But I won't stick on this for too long because I know people get in their feelings about the potato. Series S. It's not a potato. I love it. I have one. But before we do move on, I got one super chat there. Oh no, we've already called that one out. Before we do move on, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you are new. Guys in the chat, you're absolutely pumping. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. We'll move on to the next topic, which is obviously going to be Starfield, media bias, and how sort of the narrative is shifting, but then weirdly not shifting. Now, I've been a big proponent of this. A lot of people will tell you that there's no media bias and that's bullshit. It doesn't happen. What I'm telling you is, what I will say is, there's an inherent bias when you have PlayStation that has such a big lead in the market. Obviously, that bleeds into your media. Or a lot of your media guys are PlayStation guys. It's just because they have been, they sort of took the last generation by storm. There's just more saturation of PlayStation out there. And bias can be, it could be something that you believe you don't have, but you just operate under. Did a lot of research on bias in my job. So it's something that it may be inherent that you don't know you're even doing. And I feel a lot of this is happening within the media. And I think we've seen it. So just a couple of examples that we've seen. And Umbra, you know a little bit more about this than me because I wasn't all across this one. But IGN recently displayed a whole bunch of games. I think it was up to about 10. Where they completely left out the fact that they were on Xbox in their lower thirds and also in the articles. And Destin got a lot of shit about this, and they had to go back and then redo the article and repost it with Xbox in the name, which is ridiculous. And then there's been articles after article of weird takes on Starfield. One of them was we're going back a week, so past last show, where one of the publications released that the reviews for Starfield were poor. It hasn't even been a fucking review yet. It's like, why are you releasing an article about reviews when there hasn't been a review? And then obviously there was one recently, Starfield's new live action trailer probably inspires more emotion than the entire game will, and that's not saying much. That was the headline of one of these articles. And so from what I've seen is this ridiculous bias. Also, on top of that, I've seen the media, I think that someone tried to sort of put it in a way where the media is trying to get next to Starfield and on top of Starfield as much as they can. And I think so you'll see a narrative shift, but at the moment, the bias has been absolutely crazy. And I think that this game is it's sort of like growing pains. I think this game is going to be a generational leap. I really do. I don't mean in graphically. I just mean in size, scale, and as far as RPG elements go. I think this is going to be the culmination of, BGS's, like all the games that they've made, and just coming together as one of the best, probably the best RPG I think that's ever been made. I might be gushing a little bit. We haven't played the game, so I don't really know. But from what I've been hearing, Tim, I know that you've been hearing some stuff too, that Starfield is just phenomenal. I think it's going to definitely hit those at least lower 90s on the Metacritic. But man, Tim, like, what's your thoughts on the media bias? The weird stuff we've been seeing them do with Xbox at Gamescom, and the weird takes that we've been seeing for Starfield. Like, why do they put themselves in this situation? It's just for clicks, right?
Yeah, it is for
Tim's
clicks,
not here, right?
unfortunately.
You go.
Yeah, I think Tim's having some problems with his internet, but yeah, it is for clicks. But I still go to IGN. It's probably because I'm a creature of habit and I've been doing it for so long now that, I still go there. But if you go into the comments section of any IGN article, and it is predominantly PlayStation, heavy, when you get in there. And I think it really is just for clicks, but it gets to a point where it becomes too much. Starfield is going to be one of the games of the generation, I believe. I mean, every Bethesda game hits, and this is the first new IP they've had in 25 years, so this is something special. And the way they've been advertising it is disgusting to me. So whenever they put out anything on this, it always seems to be something negative. They focus heavily on the negative, and then they just, it didn't matter what trailer they put out for any game, they took away the Xbox logo, and they actually had to take out the Xbox logo specifically for every single game. things like that to me make absolutely no sense. So, and I don't know, Umbra, you look like I said, you looked in, like Riskit said, you looked into this a little bit more. Sony own a lot of magazines, and they own a lot of things in the background. Do you think that they have something over IGN, like that they won't that IGN are scared that they won't get content when it
I
comes
wouldn't
to
put it past them.
their movie productions, and everything else
Their
that Sony has
funding.
its fingers in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're funding all of those things. I mean, and we know that they pay into their ad share and stuff like that. We know that PlayStation will punish people who give them lower reviews than they want. We've seen it happen with what was that guy name from that company, that review site? I can't remember it.
Stevier.
What was it again?
Stevier.
Stavir, yeah, Stevivor. Oh, Stevivor. Well, how do you say that? Stevivor, I think it is. So we know that they will punish people too. The problem is that you could argue once is a mistake, but IGN has done is like 6 times now.
Yeah.
It was 5. It was like 5 this week, and I think it was a week before where they did that. Yeah. Once it's a mistake. 5 and 6 times is purpose. That's agenda. So
and
go ahead,
earlier
Tim. What were you
this
saying?
year, and earlier this year, this was a topic. I don't know if you guys remember. Remember Xbox? They after Sony had, I guess, showed their games on the showcase. They had a meme like, "These are the games that are coming," and they were all PlayStation games, the Xbox games that were shown at the showcase.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that? And
Yeah.
there was the Xbox Twitter put it up, and it was a pretty big thing. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, IGN did the same thing, kind of like mocking Xbox, or going, being kind of like coy about it. And there was a whole big thing, and then there was their director, or a top level person. She made a really stupid tweet, and she was like basically saying, putting down Xbox. So like you said, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, type situation. And I brought that up. It's like Xbox is always the one at the short end of the stick. Why? And had a fight with Destin about it. It was around that time. It's like, listen, there's definitely a conscious effort to prop up PlayStation on IGN. There's definitely a conscious effort to say they're number one, and to support them. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if it's as nefarious as saying that they're being paid. I know a lot of people say that. I just think it's more of a popularity thing. Like they're stoking the fires. They know that it's more popular, and I also think it's a lack of education. Like they don't really know. Like they know PlayStation, but they don't know Xbox. I think it's pretty clear. And their top Xbox guy, Ryan, he's always putting down Xbox. It's like, how many times is he going to say stuff like, he was putting down Xbox fanboys for Tomb Raider, celebrating Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then he was saying it was genius by Sony to get Final Fantasy 16. So again, it's a long history. They're definitely guilty of it. There's no doubt about it. And they should do better. I mean, they're a good outlet, or they're a big outlet, and they could be good, but you got to be fair and balanced, in my opinion. I don't want this stuff to go the way of like politics, where there's partisanship and stuff like that. And sometimes I feel like it goes that way. Like they just, people are just backing things up, and they're putting down other things. And I think Xbox, in the position that they're in, again, they're always getting the short end of the stick, and I think its fans are very passionate. They notice this, and it's over and over and over and over. Whether it be, their IGN on Facebook putting God of War and then next to a blank screen, for Xbox. If you guys remember, they did that.
Mm-hmm.
There's been many cases where IGN has done this, but it's never when it's only one way, one sided. So yeah, there's definitely something going on there, and
I mean,
and
if
the,
you remember the
director
PlayStation,
and the people that are there should strive to do better, because unless you just want to be a fanboy site, I guess maybe that's what they want to do. But I would think that in their position, they would try to be fair and balanced.
yeah, if you remember the PlayStation showcase, there wasn't a massive backlash for from the media. There was no articles about how poor it was. They just reported directly on what happened, right? So they were just talking about these games were here and that game was there and blah 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 blah. There wasn't a that was
and
really
you can
poor.
embellish.
Yeah,
That's right, and you can embellish on how you report something. They didn't embellish with PlayStation, even though it deserved it, because that was a piss poor showing, and we all know it. But when Microsoft makes a little misstep, does this for Starfield mean this is going to do this? And all of a sudden now it's all these questions about failure. But the thing that bothers me again with all these mishaps. How do you ignore that Liza P was clearly shown for Game Pass and Xbox and don't show that it's coming to Xbox? How do you
Well, see, it's
know that
not.
Persona 3
Yeah.
Persona 3 was introduced on the stage with Xbox and it's shown to become an Xbox Game Pass and you don't do it? How do you omit Mortal Kombat 1 coming to Game Pass, or excuse me, the game Xbox rather, and that's not listed as a platform? These things are purposeful. You can't keep having these issues.
I mean, is it just incompetence? Is it because
I don't think so.
Listen, we know.
No, it's definitely not incompetence, and I'll tell you why. Because you actually had to physically take out the Xbox banner from when they showed, and that was proven. I'm not sure who did the breakdown of it, or someone on Twitter, but it was actually
Well, it's like when IGN stole that
taken
asset.
out.
Like, remember when IGN stole that asset from Stein, and Stein called him out on it? Like, you could
they put their own logo on it too, didn't they?
It's shameless, It's just crazy.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if you guys saw Destin put out a tweet, after all this stuff blew up about the Xbox not being on those. Destin just put out this tweet, "Hey, everybody, adding me about the Persona 3 Xbox has been added back on." And then people are like, "Okay, but what about all the others that you guys?"
And that's the problem too.
Man.
I want to point that out. That's another issue I had, because that Max Hoberman guy came into Jasper, who's on Mav's podcast, Jasper, Lower Master Jasper, as he calls himself there. He made an innocent enough tweet, I think it was respectful enough, where he asked, "Hey, IGN, what's going on here where you all keep omitting Xbox from these games that clearly they're launching on that platform?" And then Max Hoberman guy came on his tweet and was like really passive aggressive and yeah, it'd have been nice. He said, "Okay, we'll fix that, or we're fixing it now. It would have been nice though if you would hit me up in the DM instead of coming out here and try to get chased for clout or something like that." And he can't, and he had to later come back and apologize, right? And people were on his neck. So you had 3-Bit, our brother 3-Bit, who is also works with Unreal Engine. I had to throw that out there. Anyway, he he got blocked by the guy just by asking, "Wow, this is how you respond to him?" All that he said was an innocent question. He didn't 3-Bit didn't insult the guy. He didn't say anything mean toward him, anything. Just held him accountable for his nasty attitude, and the guy blocked him. So that goes to I think there's what's the word I want to use here? There is
purposeful.
It's a purposeful thing, but there is I think people get this misconception that PlayStation fans are on.
He's back.
You got Hoove brothers in all sectors. You got Hoove brothers that work in media. You got Hoove brothers that are critics, just like you have Xbots, if you will, that do the same. But I would clearly point out there are more PlayStation guys than anything else, and they will be biased no matter what they say. There is no way to escape your bias.
It's just a shame, because I feel like Destin is the only one that's in media that kind of, is the voice of Xbox, and he's fair. He pokes at him when he needs to. But just
quickly, I'm going to jump in there and say we at Xbox Infinite are also the voice of Xbox, and the views of Blue do not necessarily represent the views.
He was a little bit.
I agree, Tim.
He's the only one who even tries to take the Xbox line. in
I agree.
quote unquote
I
mainstream
agree.
media.
I can't believe
Uh,
Ryan McCaffrey is the lead Xbox guy there. Like that should just be transferred over. He has no credibility within the Xbox ecosystem anymore, especially after what he did with Tomb Raider. It should be
Yeah, that
handed
hurt
over to
him.
Destin Legary. So
Well,
I
he
mean
is an
that's
editor
I
in
still,
chief.
I still have love for Ryan. Like I even said this on Gamers Initiative earlier. Like I've been following Ryan since he was an official Xbox magazine. So
Yeah.
I've been following that man's works for
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah. But
So
what,
I know he's a true Xbox guy, but he has been influenced by their culture.
Well,
That's the
even
word I was
Yeah.
looking for earlier.
and what he did last week, even right when I called him out about him tweeting at Phil about 8 strikes is too much and going off on him about that, and I'm like, bro, like this
Yeah.
program isn't even started yet. Give the man a chance. Like let it run its course. I'm sure
Mhm.
they have data. Like you got to start
Mhm.
somewhere, right? Like why are we
Yeah, look,
screaming and
I
puffing our chest?
don't
about
have
it?
an issue with Brian McCaffrey calling out
What
or
annoys me
anyone.
about Ryan is he's very he knows what people are talking about, but he's always there to dogpile on Xbox when they're on their heels. And you know, with the whole red fall thing, I think that was like I remember seeing a week of just the most toxic, crazy hate I've ever seen
Mhm.
pushed at Phil and Xbox. And there it is. I see like him put out this tweet and basically, you know, it's making the Xbox keeps just making the same old mistakes over, shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know what it was, but it was something where it you know depicted Xbox in a meme
Mhm.
and you know in a negative way, and I just feel like you know like it's just too easy for him to do that. It's always been the case, and the same with IGN. It's always been too easy for them to put down Xbox and to all make these stupid mistakes that are just like really amateur and you know omitting the platform and stuff like that way too much and um you know Xbox fans do have a little bit of a chip on their shoulders because again this has been you know not 2 years, this has been like ever since the stupid you know
TV.
DRM stuff. Really Xbox
yeah.
fans have
Launch of Xbox One.
gotten yeah exactly just throughout the whole time you know, and that's why with Starfield and what's coming ahead, I call it the Xbox ass kicking tour because I think they're going to just really hit hard, and I think Sony's going to be in a position where they're going to be putting out games as a service, maybe some DLC, but they're not going to be able to put up with this production. It's just a matter of numbers. Xbox has more games announced, more games in development.
More
They had
studios.
a much better show this year than Sony, and Sony had 2 years off. And it's going to start to show, especially with Activision and what they have, and Blizzard, what's coming for Xbox, and Game Pass. I can only imagine a year from now where they are. And people say it's always a year. Well, it's starting now, and I think we're going to talk about Starfield next or whatever. But um, you
Oh
know,
no,
Starfield's a
that's sort of
big way to pop it off.
that's in the conversation now. I think. Like I also with all this media bias bullshit that we've been seeing, I've also seen a bit of a shift where. You know, there is people reporting on Starfield poorly already before it's even come out. But I think we're starting to see the shift where the media is going to start to try to get next to. I think someone put it perfectly. They're trying to get next to Starfield, so everything is sort of about, you know, Starfield, and it is a massive generational game. I think it's going to shift the narrative, and if they can keep the cadence up, then I think we'll see it. But what I'm going to be really interested to see is will the media switch their bias? And look, I do think in some instances it's partly incompetence because look we've spoken to lots of different people in the media all throughout, and we all know a couple of people here and there. We know some guys that are just really good, really honest, really well thought out, and then there's some people who just don't do their homework. and then just espouse absolute bullshit just to get an article out and to get those clicks. And yeah, I'm really interested to see if the bashing of Xbox sort of takes a shift and a turn when Starfield drops. I've been waiting. We've all been waiting since the Xbox One era. I think it might have even started back in Red Ring, the Xbox bashing. But yeah, it has been a thing that's going on. But like quickly, we don't have much time left. But listen, Starfield looks like it's going to change the conversation. It will be out next week. And we will have played it when we jump on the show. I will cap some footage this time. Make sure I've got that up on screen. But I am looking forward to this game. I'm super, super fucking excited. Infinite, what are you looking forward to most about Starfield?
I mean, there's so much, man. Like, I look forward to the exploration, right? Like, that's my biggest thing with games like this. When it comes to massive open world games like this, where you can you can do your own thing and go at your own pace. I'm looking forward to the exploration and what I'll find out there. A lot of the planets we know, well, 100 of them are, handcrafted with some of the stuff in it, and then you got 900 more that are not. So I'm interested in coming across those 900 procedurally generated spots and coming across enemies there and in wildlife or alien life, if you will, and just coming across crazy stuff that I didn't expect. I want to come across crazy instances like we heard from Pete Hines, where he was talking about how he was trying to hijack a ship in space and he got sucked into a black hole and stuff like I want to come across things like that, and I know it's going to happen. It's going to be some unexpected stuff that takes place. I'm interested in finding out the mystery of Starfield and what that artifact does. We know it's going to lead to some type of powers. That much is clear in my mind. But I guess I'm just hyped for
they never gave that away, Umbra. I wish they never gave
that
away, bro.
I guess I can hear you on that. I hear you. But it didn't ruin anything for me, right? Because I know we still got the journey we got to go through. That's the biggest thing for me with these types of games, that we know the journey is the bigger thing. Now, as long as we don't get things spoiled beyond that, the journey will be fine. But I look forward to just exploration, Risk. I look forward to seeing the unknown and the unexpected. I expect us to have some crazy happenings. I want to record my gameplay as I do it to put it on the show, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody else, so I'm not going to do it, at least for the first month. Maybe I'll hold off before I put that on my podcast, the gameplay that I want to record. But I'm just excited as hell to play this game, man. I think that I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think this game is going to win Game of the Year. I think it's going to land at a 94 and a 96, to one of those, from 94 to a 96, should I say. And I think it's going to win Game of the Year. I think it's going to be a generationally great game, like Todd Howard and team have turned in before. So I'm just expecting, I already know it's going to be great. I know that you have some reports from many who shouldn't be saying it, but so many of them have already come forward to say that the bugs have been largely absent in this game. So it's the most bug-free Bethesda game they've played, they said. So that if you can't process that into greatness in your mind, then you just want to be negative against the game anyway. I'm just excited as hell, personally.
Pete, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, me too. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got
you, Tim. Yeah, actually, you go first, Tim, because I know you're having problems. What are you looking forward to in Starfield, mate?
Yeah, if I lose you guys, I'll definitely be back soon. Well, listen, this is what I feel. I feel like this game is so huge that I don't know if 2 weeks is going to really cover for reviewers, but I do think that it should very well score very well. And what I've heard is like there is very little bugs, but some of the bugs that they've had have been minor. Like I heard one that was pretty fun. Like they went into one scene and everyone was bald, nobody had hair. So like certain stuff like that, like here and there. But it's a game where what you give is what you get. So if you want to play 500 hours, it's going to be right up there and it's going to match you. So I think it's a special game and I think it's going to prove out itself. It's probably the most massive game, top 3 ever made. And I just hope they get the credit that they're due. I hope there's no stupidity, rock gun shot Shotgun's been pulling some bullshit with the game. I just hope there's none of that because I do feel like they want to have this for them to give back to the late Robert Altman, who they lost, and I think they want to have this to be a due to him, or their thank you for all he's done. And I know that the team, from what I've heard personally, that they really wanted to do well, and I hope that they do. I think that they deserve it.
Well said, Tim. Beautifully said, mate. What am I looking forward to in Starfield? I don't have one thing that I'm looking forward to more than others. I'm looking forward to the journey. And as with all these massive RPGs, I think the journey is where the fun, I find the fun. I don't know if I'm going to be, my Han Solo smuggler, if I'm going to be a pirate, what faction I'm going to go for, how long it's going to take me to make a character, because it usually takes me a while before I actually get into these games. I mean, there's just so much to look forward to in this game. And I cannot wait. And this time next week, guys, please, please come by and watch the show, even though Starfield will be out. We'll be giving our rundown on it just briefly. We're not going to give anything away. Hopefully, we have a bit of B-roll running in the background as well, just for those people that won't be able to get it early. But I can't wait for this game. I mean, it is finally hitting the biggest IP Xbox has released, in my opinion, since Halo. Umbra, I think it's going to get a 93. I've said that maybe 8 months ago. I stand by that. I think the waiting of a year and the delaying of the year is going to do this game a world of good. I really do. From what we saw initially, or when it first got shown, to what we're seeing now is night and day for me. And I hope that the PlayStation fanboys don't rile up the community that much that it takes anybody's enjoyment away, or it keeps people away from experiencing this game, because I think it's going to be something truly special. What do you think, Holly? What are you looking forward to in Starfield?
The whole kit and caboodle.
What do you? Why do you sound like you're up to something devious over there? The way you.
No, it's just I mean, not knowing really anything, right? It's just such a massive game that you ask me, and it's just like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Like I was so distracted back and forth, like, and I'm a huge Bethesda RPG person who spends many hours getting lost in side quests. I'm kind of a completionist nerd on like doing all side quests, finding all the locations, doing all that stuff, right? And so I'm a little overwhelmed at thinking at how much that's gonna take up. But then playing Fallout 4, I was never interested in the base building stuff. I did the bare minimum to get an achievement or whatever I needed to do and just go and do the story stuff. But I have been playing way too many ungodly hours of 76 lately with friends. And before, Colt got his pesky Starfield code, we were in 76 with a few other friends all the time, and it was just, I mean, man, it's so much fun, and the building stuff in that has just totally revamped my opinion on base building. So when I originally looked at Starfield, I was like, I don't care about building a ship. Who cares? Just let me buy one and go on with my life. But now I'm, like that's a whole nother game in itself, right? Like,
you could build a mothership, the size of the thing.
I could build an H-shaped ship. I loved the woman who said she's going to make them look like animals. And I was like, yes. There, she's my spirit. She's my spirit animal. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. What kind of dog can I make out of it? Yeah.
Has anyone seen the Adam Savage build that he's got going, that he teamed up with Starfield?
The Millennium.
And he's he's making a Starfield ship from scratch, all 3D.
That guy was
glasses.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
Mythbusters. Yeah, if you guys
Mythbusters,
haven't checked it out, they've put 2 videos out on it so far. They haven't completed the build yet, but it is spectacular.
I'll tell you, for me, the shipbuilding is definitely going to be something I'm looking forward to, and I can't wait for the modders to get their hands on this because I still want that Millennium Falcon. I saw somebody make it already using the in-game modules, so it can be done in-game. It won't look all the way like it, but it looked close enough, and I'm excited for the possibilities of what the community will come up with. That's the beautiful thing about Bethesda games, is that the community is so good that, I mean, we've already known that so many of them have been picked up by Bethesda because they're so good. So imagine what they're going to come up with. Imagine the Star Wars we're going to see in this, Pete. Imagine the Fireflies. Imagine the Star Treks. Imagine all the stuff that they're going to bring into this and creating their own worlds and planets, probably creating a Skyrim planet itself or Oblivion planet itself.
It's a blank canvas. You've got 1,000 different blank canvases to just mess about with. It's humongous. But my thing, I don't want to make the show go too long, so I just want to jump to quickly what mine was. My main thing here is the way that you can play, what you can do with quests, which is like basically cancel out a quest if you want to kill the quest giver. I like messing around with the world and trying to break the game, so that'll be fun. The other main thing I love about this is, or that I think I'm going to love about this is the gunplay. Now, I've always been really off Bethesda's gunplay, even in Wolfenstein. Just didn't feel right to me. I've always been a real tight sort of gunplay, but looking at the gunplay that they recently showed, it looks tight. It looks like it's going to be my thing. I'm pretty down for it. It's quick, it's responsive. There's lots of different, obviously, weapons you can use. So to me, that's awesome. The other thing is we play a lot in parties as a community. If you guys in the chat don't know, we spend a lot of time in parties just kidding around. And one thing that you tend to do in parties in an open world game is achieve absolutely fuck all. So you'll be playing an open world game. Maybe I remember doing this in Jedi. I think I ran around for about 3 hours and just did nothing. But doing that in Starfield, I think you'll be just achieving stuff like accidentally. Oh, I just came across this. Oh, I just saw that. Oh, check this out. Like, whereas with, when I was playing Jedi, like I was just running around in a world that was just a world, a great open world game, fantastic game. I think it should be in the contender for, as a contender, but Starfield's just I think it's going to be a different feel. Bethesda games have that in the background, but I don't think they've ever fully realized the potential of their games just yet. I think this might be that potential. I think they might be realizing it this generation. And then, as you say, with the mods, it's not going to be realized just once the game's released. This game is going to go on with mods, with support from BGS themselves. Like, this game is just has endless possibility, man. Like, it's not going to be like Elder Scrolls where they do an expansion and it's a small little section of the world. They could do whole different worlds. They could do whole different quest lines that take you to different galaxies.
New world.
Mute. This game.
I mean, look what the community did for Skyrim, and that shows you what can be done on, and that's one planet. That shows you what can be done for Starfield.
Yeah, I mean, it's craziness. The shipbuilding, the object permanence, I mean, what really got me? I was grabbing Colt's arm, Holly, when we were at FanFest, like we're like nudging each other in the ribs.
I remember that.
When I was like watching that section where they're like, you can focus on different parts of the ship when you're like firing at them, and you can get upgrades to make it easier to focus. So you can shoot their engines out. I'm like, in my head, and I've said this a few times, I was like, shit, man, I wonder if you can board them. And then almost as I was thinking it, they're like, and then you can board them. And I was like,
don't you love that?
Fuck out of here.
Don't you love that when you're thinking these crazy things and it's like, oh, and you can do this crazy thing you just thought of. Yeah. It just shows you how free you can be in this game. And I wanted to point out that Boba mentioned, did we talk about New Game Plus? I forgot to talk about that. Pete Hines went on record saying that the game doesn't really begin until you beat the main storyline. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out. And they said that for the New Game Plus, it's not going to be the typical, you just go to the New Game Plus. It's going to be done in a different way. So I wonder how all of that plays out, man. And by the way, just to throw it out there, because I said I would mention it and Sappho pointed it out too, Xbox has had 1,000% surge in sales, the Xbox Series X, since this. And I know that's a Starfield effect. So just to say, for those who are questioning how big this game is going to be, This game is going to be massive. There is no shortcomings for this game. It's going to be big. And anybody telling you otherwise are just simply hating. That's just the truth. This is going to be, like, I think you mentioned it, Pete. It's the biggest game Microsoft has dropped since Halo. And I'm not even talking about Halo Infinite. I'm talking about like Halo 3. Like this is big like that. You know, it's not getting the desert, probably the
props,
the level of props it deserves. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, man, this thing is about to be crazy. And I don't know. We had a question.
I've got a question
Rick.
for you, Umbra.
Yeah,
I've got a question for you, brother. How detailed will the modding be in the console side of things compared to the PC things? Do you think it definitely won't be as extensive?
It won't be as The problem with that is like they can't go so far, right? Because PC can just do so much more. I hope though that Bethesda goes further out, because you saw some of that when in Fallout 4 and stuff like that. They allowed a lot of those different mods, but PC is just clearly way more advanced when it comes to that. I don't know how much they'll allow. It's up to Microsoft. If Microsoft gets more relaxed on that and allows more, we can get some crazy stuff. I'm hoping that we get some of that.
I hope so too.
I'm hoping that. Yeah.
I hope so too. Yep, just put the nanny card away and let whatever gets put out on both.
Yep.
Absolutely. Look, we guys, we have lost Tim. Unfortunately, he's having some serious internet problems, but I do want to do the outros. You guys, before I do, guys in the chat have been absolutely amazing today. I'm conscious because Mav has his show now, and we don't want to I don't like to run too much into Mav's show because he's an absolute champion with a great show. I don't want anyone to miss that. But you guys in the chat have been absolutely fantastic this week. I really love it. And we're on the precipice of Xbox greatness. I really know it sounds like an Xbox thing to say, but I really think we're on that precipice where we start to see the plan that we've heard about getting put into action. And it's been years. And if look, I'm invested in the platform. I've been invested for 20 years, and it's been years that I've been waiting for this. And if they can nail it, like they're saying that they're going to be able to with the cadence, I am just, you're not going to find a happier Xbox on the planet. But I do want to say, Tim, it was absolutely fantastic to have you on. If you get to listen to this after, he's been an absolutely fantastic guest. He's one of the pillars of the community, one of the greatest guys, really nice dude, man. Tim is a great guy behind the scenes as much as he is in the community as well. So I wanted to thank Tim for coming on the show and giving us his takes. You guys may have noticed we have a new addition to the show, and I'm going to outro her first. Blue is coming on with us full time. She'll be here every week, and it's fantastic to welcome her into the show. Really appreciate her saying yes. It's not something I hear from ladies very often, so I appreciate it when I do. And so, Blue, welcome to the show. And thanks for coming on board. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what you're playing, what you're looking forward to, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I am very, very happy and excited and feel very blessed that you guys like me, and I have a great time talking to you guys both here and kicking your butt in games or carrying you or being carried. Peanut gallery. Shh. Anyway, no, seriously, thank you to you all, and thanks to the chat for welcoming me in. I am going to not play any more COD raids because veteran would be literally impossible.
Especially with you guys, Yep.
I told you earlier, you need to pick better friends. But so I'm probably gonna go back to binging 76 for the next week and staring at my email every day, wondering why my Constellation Edition hasn't shipped yet. But I'm very worried about that. I know it's coming. I did not get the canceled email, which is what I was most terrified about.
Let me ask you, it's probably not a live on air question, but we got everyone who went to FanFest got given a Starfield bomber jacket.
Where's that too?
Where the hell is that? Like
it was supposed to come in August, but I've been checking the shipping thing and it's still just as ordered.
Has it been shipped? Yeah, mine hasn't been shipped either. And I've sent them a couple of emails. And they're like, we're really busy. I'm like, well, I'm really not going to use you guys for merch if I ever get any. Because, people order it and then they're going to get it 6 months later. How exciting!
Well, never in a million years did I think in 95-degree weather I'd be begging for a bomber jacket, but
here you are.
And I will rock that thing and sweat through it.
Oh hell yeah!
They're just trying to keep it authentic. They're going to give it to you guys in 25, 52 or something like that.
Well, maybe they're timing it for the launch of the game, and it like arrives on the day it launches. That would be a logistical fucking nightmare.
Well, we would have gotten a shipping email by now. Anyway, that's here nor there. But we got these super, super cool bomber jackets. Everyone at FanFest, they gave us a code and they're giving them to us and shipping them to us allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, it was fantastic to welcome you into the show in perpetuity. It's great to have you here. You are definitely fun to game with. I don't know about your instructions. They're not usually that good, but, you know, I try to follow them.
Nice.
No, they're fantastic. Infinite Umbra, another fantastic week. Another fantastic show, and it's going to be a fantastic fucking year for Xbox. So let the people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, what you'll be doing, what you're playing, what you're looking forward to, all that good stuff.
Well, I'm going to be playing probably some more Atlas Fallen if Pete and MacBound want to try to get through their campaign and, you know, finish that up. It won't take long from my experience. If you ignore the side missions, Pete, we'll get through it pretty quick. I did want to address a question Pixel Bit had asked, and he just quickly he said, do you guys think the Xbox will get the credit it deserves for allowing this delay to improve the game, ladies and gent, and in this case, lady and gents? And honestly, no. By the masses, no. But I think it's important that, and I know some people are like, oh, your shields and all that, but I think it's important for us as a community that we highlight Microsoft and give them their due praises when they deserve it, as well as give them the smoke when they deserve it. So I think it's going to be on us to properly make sure that narrative gets out there. And I aim to do that when I get on podcasts, to praise them as they should be. And I guess that's all we can ask for. Eventually, Microsoft is going to win people over because they have too much good stuff coming for people to ignore them. It's only so long, as they say, fake thugs can pretend, right? So it's only so long fake media members, the hooved brothers in the media, can pretend that Xbox isn't doing well. It is what it is. But as far as where you all can find me, of course, on Malcolm X's platform, X, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite, you'll find me there. Of course, Truly, you just got here? Where you been all this time, Truly? Disowned. Also, of course, on Tuesdays on Xbox Factory with Boom, myself, Daniel McGee, and our new brother that's added to the show, C Money. Thursdays, of course, The Fix with Infinite Umbra and Daniel McGee, and of course here with the fellas and now our newest member, Holly. Welcome to Xbox Infinite. It's a pleasure always talking with you about gaming. So it's even better to have you as a full panelist with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Short and sharp. It definitely is fantastic to have you back, Pete. Another fantastic show, another fantastic week. Let people know where they can find you, what you're looking forward to, what you'll be playing. How's your week looking?
I just want this week to go by as quickly as possible so I can get my hands on Starfield. I'll be playing Starfield on my awesome Starfield controller, and it has begun, guys. How long have we been talking about playing Starfield for? How long have we been waiting for all these games? Starfield, Forza Horizon, Lords of the Fallen, Lies of P. They are coming now. I mean, it's just going to be game after game after game. So I cannot wait for it. Really looking forward to it. Holly, welcome to the show. Honestly, I'm an idiot most of the times, but I couldn't be more happy that you've joined us. I mean that sincerely. And Tim was awesome today. I know we had him on the show before, and he did say goodbye to everybody. He's been having internet issues, so thank you for coming through, brother.
Yeah, much love to Tim. Yeah,
forgot to thanks Tim because he's not here. Oops. Thanks Tim, brother, for coming through. I forgot all about him.
Oh, man, it was fantastic to have him. It was another fantastic week. And all you guys in the chat, you guys are absolutely amazing. I'm going to try something new this week and redirect you all to Mav's podcast so you can go over there and say g'day to him. Let him know who sent you over and tell him I want my money. No. You guys have an absolutely fantastic week. And I don't know what I'm doing with this thing, so maybe I'll mess it up. But best of luck and stuff and stalling. And I'm going to end the stream now. We're going to ramble at the end of the show all the time. It's weird.
Later, everyone.
Later, guys.